Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? For so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we walked were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular upon spurs singing out, yeah, through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Welcome to Inside the Gamecocks, the morning show, presented by the West Law Firm and Resto Pros of the Midlands, part of the Chief Sports Network, and proud partners of On 3, Go Gamecocks.
He'll be fine on the mountain.
Consecutive home runs for Carolina.
It is good. It's gone.
He's in. Touchdown. Williams with the throw to the plate.
He's going to score. It's a walk-off.
Touchdown, South Carolina.
All right, greetings and good morning. Welcome aboard and welcome home. Inside the Gamecocks, the morning show presented by our friends at Resto Pros, who are always there when you need them. Resto Pros of the Midlands, Resto Pros Midlands, SC.com. Also, our dear friends over at the West Law Firm. They are just amazing at what they do, and they've been doing it for over 8 decades, and we sure are thankful for them here in this great state of South Carolina. Visit West Law Firm, SC.com if you or somebody you know needs help as we enter the football season. Mike Morgan, the Golden Tones are here. JC and Phil coming up at 11 o'clock this morning, and we are getting closer and closer to camp as they will get ready to go on Friday, and that is part of our Gamecock Report presented by Gamecock Traditions.
What's going on in Gamecock Country? It's the Gamecock Report presented by Gamecock Traditions on the morning show. Visit GamecockTraditions.com or in Lexington and get your gear and apparel today.
Yep. So here you go, Mike. This is it. This is your time. This is when you get out of the condo and you're bouncing around SEC ballpark to SEC ballpark. in there mingling with the coaches, talking to the strength staff, who's healthy, who's not. This is your week. This is where you get your intel.
Yeah. No. Practice week, you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have access to a lot of practices. I mean, we could always do a call with coaches and whatnot, but the whole landscape, as you well know, it's changed
Dramatically.
Everything is just top secret, hush hush. You know, there was a time fans were allowed to watch a lot of these practices, scrimmages, and alike. Not anymore. It's a different deal.
All right, so
no news is good news.
Let me ask you a question then. If all 16 teams had practice open for not just like periods 1 through 3, the entire practice, you got to watch the whole thing on Friday. All 16 teams open on Friday. I think Missouri might be a day early, but let's say they all open on Friday, and you get your choice. All 16 have sent you a card in the mail. Mike Morgan, we want you at practice to watch us. You got your choice of 16 teams in the league. Which one would you choose and why? First day.
Can I throw that question your way first?
Sure. Aside from South Carolina, because obviously I've got vested interest in that.
Yeah.
I think it would be Texas.
Yeah.
I think it would be Texas.
Yeah, I mean, I think like a moth to a flame, we would naturally gravitate toward the top teams.
Yeah.
So it would be Texas, or I could just go down the road an hour and 10 minutes to Athens and check out what Kirby's got cooking. Mm-hmm. You know, those would be the top two. But the one that's Texas is more enticing because they have so many upgrades.
Yeah.
You know, they went in and they got the family fun pack. You know, they got the upgraded sound system. They got the tinted windows. They got the rack and pinion steering and the alloy wheels. They just said, money's no object. I want you to take this car that was pretty good last year, that had a very valid argument for the playoff. If we had a better system who determines who gets in, who doesn't, Texas might have been in. They had more impressive wins than a lot of the teams that got in. But then you add, I mean, starts with Cam Coleman, the upgrades in the backfield, the upgrades on defense. You still have Simmons coming back, who, depending on who you ask, between him and Dylan Stewart, might be the best defensive player in the SEC, certainly on the line of scrimmage. They are loaded. They are loaded for bear. And with that comes extra pressure, though, if you're Sark.
Yep.
Because if you don't make the playoff this year, it just gets ugly real quick, Jamie.
I mean, you know, you hate that, but it's true. It's just the era that we're in, and look, all those it as much pressure as that would come from the fans. I'm going to say just the average fan, and that's no disrespect because we're at the end of the day, 99.9% of us are all the average fan in whatever version of college football you want to call that, whether you're a fan of a specific team or you just like the sport, it doesn't matter. But that 0.1%, they put in all that money that you just mentioned to go out and get all those players. Yeah, they wouldn't be real happy looking around going, well, so let's see. Texas Tech was in the playoffs. A&M was in the playoffs. Oh, we weren't. SMU might be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know,
I think you could actually circle that back to Carolina in a different way. I'm not saying it's playoff or bust. Very few people actually have Carolina in the playoff, but it better be a lot of improvement. You know, Gamecock fans are well aware of how much money has been put into this program. They opened up the pocketbook. That's how you keep a Lenore Sellers, a Dylan Stewart, a Nick Harbor. There's a lot of money out there on the table for Gamecock football to not just like be competitive or, you know, give the old college try. No, I think this fan base expects results, like really good results. So there's a lot of pressure here. There's no question about that.
Well, Thursday is local media day. And Shane Beamer will meet officially with the media for his first season press conference at 3 o'clock that afternoon. Again, Thursday afternoon. Practice begins Friday morning at 9:25. We get 3 whopping periods for the media to walk out and see them stretch and, say hello to their girlfriends and, you get a weather report and stuff like that, and then get the hell out of here.
Yeah. You know what that's mainly for? So the TV guys can go and get what they call B-roll.
Yep.
So you get B-roll of Lenora Sellers, like just kind of smiling and doing some stretches. You got B-roll of Dylan Stewart out there in like a cutoff T-shirt, and you're like, damn, he looks good. That's what a top 10 pick looks like. You got B-roll of Nick Harbor, maybe catching a pass. And so there's your coverage. That's what that's for. Like, you're not getting much else.
No, A-roll comes September 5th.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
You hope.
And if you're just like a radio guy, I'm assuming some of the On3 / Gamecock Central people will be there covering their beat. You're trying to get some sound, some audio, but it's going to be fairly generic. I mean, you're not getting breaking news is not typically what comes out of these things.
No, it's not.
And everybody's looking for the injury update on Peak and Stewart, right? Like, everybody just wants to hear. You want to hear it's all good news and they're ready to go.
Yeah, we'll find out more, but probably not on Thursday from Shane on that. I've got a feeling it's going to be the same thing they said last week at the golf tournament, and then the week before that down at SEC Media Days, which is they're both progressing, and as soon as they're ready to play, they're going to play. Again, for anybody that remembers last week, we mentioned, I mentioned, I will own this, that I think Peak's a little ahead of Stewart right now if we had to guess on that. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, no, I don't know where you're going. There's one big national story that affects Carolina and everybody else in the country. You actually got the SEC and the Big Ten to agree on the Save College Sports Act.
Yeah.
I'm not going to predict anything passes because Congress this time of year is in a hurry to like go home and count money and not do anything. But that was the ultimate snag. That snag has been fixed. So the two titans of the sport, Petiti and Sankey, actually agree on this and want this to pass. Also, all those 2022 guys looking for the extra year in football and basketball, they all got it. You had 3 court cases that predictably were all won by those players. So you have a lot more players now that are eligible in those sports that were 72 hours ago or whatever it was.
That's right. And we've worked this weekend to get some clarification on exactly what that means for South Carolina. I have talked to 2 head coaches, and I've talked to some assistants, and I'll just tell you right now at Carolina, it's all still being evaluated because this didn't change roster spots. Rosters are pretty much full. Mm-hmm. But there are, I don't think there's going to be much going on with football, but there are other sports that potentially it could affect, in particular in the spring. So we'll see. We're going to try to dig up a little bit more on that today as well. But I know yesterday it was still very much still under evaluation because there were still rulings being made on this, like clarifications to the rulings. So, all right, real quick here. Coming up this week, men's hoops is in the Bahamas. I don't know if anybody's going. We're not sending anybody, but Victoria, Canada will be the first opponent for the new look Lamont Paris coached men's basketball team at 4 o'clock at Baha Mar in Nassau on Saturday. And then on Monday, they will play again. Saturday's opponent is Victoria, Canada, the national team. Monday's opponent, a week from today, they'll take on the Bahamas national team at 4 o'clock as well. Men's soccer, 6 o'clock scrimmage with NC State coming up this Saturday at the Graveyard. And the season officially opens Thursday, August the 20th. Down at North Florida in Jacksonville. They are defending conference champions, are the Ospreys. Women's soccer scrimmages at North Carolina at 6 o'clock Wednesday in Chapel Hill. And then next Wednesday, they open up their regular season in Columbia versus Oregon State. the old Cox versus Beavers matchup at the Graveyard. Limited tickets remain for the annual Gamecock Sports Preview Party. This is really cool. If you're a Gamecock Club member, and we know many of you are, or if you're in the USC Alumni Association, this is pretty neat. They do it every year. Founders Federal Credit Union presents it. It's Thursday, August the 20th at the Pastides Alumni Center this go-around again. And all the coaches come. Beamer's there. I'm sure Coach Schnall is going to be there. They haven't sent the list yet. But all the head coaches show up. And it's hosted by Connor Shaw. How about that? Tickets are on sale to Gamecock Club and USC Alumni Association members. Go to GamecocksOnline.com. And finally, and we'll come back to this here in just a little bit. We got a lot to get to today. But ESPN's Heather Dinich has South Carolina as one of 30 teams that can make the college football playoff. And she agrees with the numbers as to why. According to Dinich, she said, "Don't count out the Gamecocks, who return more production on offense than any other SEC team, and they return the second most in the country at the FBS level." That is the Gamecock Report presented by Gamecock Traditions. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. GamecockTraditions.com, your Nike Superstore. Over 100 items are in stock. More are coming, and the season kicks off in about a month. So make sure you get the. All right, Mike, you can tell that it's football season. I'm interrupting what I was about to say because I was about to say it. And I didn't even know it was that big of a deal. I got two, not one. I got two messages last week on Twitter correcting me for saying check mark. They said it's a Nike swoosh, Jamie. It's not the check mark. It's the Nike swoosh.
Might have been a Nike rep that was actually using a false handle.
Yeah.
You know, the burner phone. Gotcha.
Yeah, I got those.
We're really big in Oregon.
I got another message last week for when we have Shane on to remind him he needs to wear more Gamecock clothing when he's in public and represent the university and not his Country Club of Charleston shirts. And I got another one who said he doesn't talk enough specifics in football, and it'd be really kind if we would ask him specific football questions like scheme and things like that, because nobody knows what he believes in. Those are the four messages I got last week on Twitter.
Well, I missed the when was Shane on?
No. Shane hasn't been on, but we always schedule him in like early August. We're working.
Oh, yeah.
And those were, I said, football season might be here. The details are getting out.
Yeah.
They're getting out.
I mean, I would have a specific question. How often, if at all, because every head coach has the headsets on, right? I mean, Shane doesn't walk side to side with no headset. How often, if at all, do you do something on the play calling offensively?
It's a JC and I talked about this maybe a week or two ago. I'm not sure if you were on with us or not. And I mentioned something similar to that.
Mm-hmm.
And where does it, because he has said before, he said a lot of things. One, look, I'm the head coach. I could absolutely say, no, we're doing this. And then he's also said, I trust these guys to go out and do whatever it is they do. There's like a lot. I have seen this. People think that Shane meddles in the offense because it's largely been fairly stale since he's been here. There's been some good moments, we know, but and I that's not really true. But as a head coach, you do, right, Mike? You do have you have some sort of obligation to make the call in certain moments. So when is that?
Well, I'll extrapolate this a little bit, give you a classic example. In Atlanta, people still blame the offensive coordinator at the time for the 28-3 debacle that was the Super Bowl loss against the Patriots. And my point has been the head coach let all those bad play calls, quote unquote, go through and did not change them. So I've never known a head coach that doesn't have the ability, if the play calling is so awful, to go ahead and kind of insert their own opinion, audibles, changing a philosophy, etc. They don't just sit there and like watch a car crash happen over and over again without saying anything or doing anything about it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that'd be a fair question.
Well, I agree with that. We'll actually probably hit on some of that. I bet it comes to that. We've got a scramble coming up in hour 2, and one of the questions for the scramble is about the. We'll see what people's answers are, but the offense is going to come up, and I've got something to expand on about that. So it's a great question, and it's very relevant. And some coaches, we've learned over the years, as you pointed out, this stuff is predetermined, or it's got to be, the decision has to be made on the fly, and some of those decisions are made before the drive begins, depending on what's going on in the game, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a great question. All right, can you get us to a timeout, though?
I can give you a great mortgage guy for all your mortgage needs. The one and only Troy Branham of Golden Gate Mortgage, 803-238-0111, a phone number for you and the family, a phone number that needs to stay on the fridge, maybe in your wallet, somewhere in a pamphlet, perhaps a 3-ring binder if you're really an organized type. Whatever the case may be. If it's me, it's like I rip off a sheet of paper and then I write it down and I stuff it somewhere where I'll eventually forget it. Luckily, I've memorized this number because it's that important, because it's going to save me money, my family money, your family money. 803-238-0111, refis, new mortgages, jumbo loan, construction loan, anything under the sun, whether you're in the capital city, the port city, the upstate, the low country. Troy's got you covered. 803-238-0111. Troy Branham of Golden Gate Mortgage.
It is 10:20. It is Monday, August the 3rd, the morning show. We'll be right back.
Join thebigspur.com and Gamecock Central today for the best Gamecock coverage in South Carolina. Proud partners of On3.
Whether it's fireside or poolside, if it's time to watch the Gamecocks, Palm Casual will make your outdoor space the best it can be. Visit palmcasual.com and come see us at one of our South Carolina locations. Go Gamecocks!
Andy, why are you burning all that money?
Because if you're buying a Honda or Toyota, that's exactly what you're doing. Look at the new Kia K4. It's $2,000 less than the Civic, and Honda only has a 5-year warranty. JT's Kia has a 1,000,000-mile warranty.
Don't forget JT's Advantage package. Oil changes, roadside assistance, and so much more. Why burn money?
840 North Anderson Road, where we're serious about saving you money.
JT's Kia Rock Hill.
Kia summer sticker sales event.
Shopping at Gamecock Traditions is easy. Just pick up your phone. Type in GamecockTraditions.com. Select your items and purchase. They will ship it to your doorstep. GamecockTraditions.com.
The Aventon Adventure 2 takes the same basic design as the original Aventon Adventure, making it an adventure bike designed to take you places that typical roads just don't reach, allowing you to ride whatever terrain you want based on your whims of the day. Look at what you're getting. Hydraulic disc brakes, torque sensor for responsive pedal assist, great LED lighting, suspension, a beautifully welded frame with excellent build quality, included rear rack, included fenders. The list just keeps going on.
Visit electricbikescharleston.com for more.
Sell your quality sports and fitness equipment to Play It Again Sports and get paid. Recycling your in-demand sports gear keeps it available in your community. Sell, buy, trade, and win with Play It Again Sports.
If you need a new fence, railings, even new columns, there is only one call in South Carolina. Gamecock great, Ryan Brewer. Over 15 years in the industry. Visit ryanbrewer.net today.
Watch JC and Morgan every week on the Chief Sports Network. Now back to ITG.
This is Inside the Gamecocks, the morning show. Part of the Chief Sports Network.
Someday, lady, you'll accompany me where the rivers meet the sound and sea. Feel it in my soul, it's meant to be. Oh, someday, lady, you'll accompany me. Someday, lady, you'll accompany me. You will accompany me.
All right. It's 10:24. Welcome back to the morning show, powered by Electric Bikes of Charleston, electricbikescharleston.com. If you're outdoors and plan to be this fall as well, when the weather at some point in time decides to cool itself down, that's a good way to do it, electricbikescharleston.com. There are the golden tones.
Good news here, Jamie. Now, a lot of fans were critical of this the last go around. I don't think they'll be as critical this go around. Costco's at it again. That's right. Costco is selling discounted tickets for Washington, Louisville, Tulane, FAU from the mean streets of Boca, Temple, and Yukon, and South Carolina.
Yeah.
Some of them are as low as $11.99 a game. That's not going to be the South Carolina ones. To $202 per game. And some include a $20 food and beverage credit or parking. So I don't know why this got a lot of people in an uproar when it started under the previous administration. It's not like they're just finding another avenue for tickets to buy fans. You want Williams-Brice Stadium to have as many occupied seats as possible. Yeah. So there's no shame in putting them in Costco or Walmart or whatever else. The local Jiffy Lube, when you get an oil change, these are not premium seats. Obviously, these are not the big money seats. But if it saves some fans some money and it puts extra butts in the seats, why not?
This is like the second. I know it's definitely two, if not the third straight year that Carolina's done this. And every year there are these strange, Twitter accounts and Instagram accounts or whatever that they pick this up and, it becomes like a preseason, poke fun at this guy or that guy to create and generate clicks and conversation and stuff like that. I'm with you. Probably because we work in the industry and understand how things work. Remember, it's not like South Carolina was like, shoot, we can't get rid of tickets. We need to just go put them in Costco. So
Right.
That's not how that works at all. Learfield is involved in this. In case anybody's wondering, there are major media rights dealers that are involved in this, and they find different ways. I mean, you listen to fans who say, well, we've been priced out, and fans have been priced out. That's true. That is the truest statement of the week. Fans have been priced out. They're trying to find ways to help them get into the game. I have no idea how that's a bad thing. And guess what? If they don't sell those, the university takes them back and they'll turn around and sell them anyways. So, I mean, I think it's a great thing for fans, and I appreciate South Carolina, UConn, whoever it is, Learfield, all these people that connect to do it. I think it's great. And I think that these like social media accounts that think that it's funny and probably don't even go to games, they sit there and retweet stuff and stuff like that. Some kid. Don't pay attention to that crap. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and again, it's the AD is not the one that's like cooking up. The people are hired in the ticket department to come up with innovative ways, to sell tickets, maximize revenues, keep the most fannies in the seats. I've never seen what the reason for getting like visibly upset about this or feeling the need to mock it.
No,
there's nothing wrong with it at all. A question from Sean on X, Mike, with how much fans are investing into the program, do you think they would lessen restrictions of how much is seen at practice? No, I don't think it moves the needle either way. Like, coaches are going to do what they feel the most comfortable with, regardless of what the ticket prices are. And that obviously means less access than ever. And that's across the board. That's not a Carolina thing. That's everywhere. Coaches no longer see the need to like, okay, guys, come on in and watch the entire practice. There's more paranoia with college coaches than any coaches that you'll ever see. I mean, when my days with the Carolina Panthers, like there were a bunch of open practices, and you're talking about Steve Smith and D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart and Julius Peppers, and they're out there like going hard, not just stretching. But the NFL is a different deal. The NFL exposure is paramount, and coaches are less paranoid about things. But in college, we have found a way to just kind of bunker up, Jamie. These are all just like fortresses. And look, honestly, it doesn't bother me that much because I've been to enough practices and run-throughs in my lifetime where you're not getting a ton out of it. I realize like there are people that it's their job to then go and find something to give the fans what they want for content, right? Dylan Stewart looked good today. He got 3 quarterback hurries. Yeah, but who were the hurries against? It's not really telling more often than not of what you're looking at. Now, if it's a new player, a brand new player, and you've never seen him before, you don't know, there's no tape or anything, that's the intel that I really would want. But like a veteran player and seeing, and then like, practice stats, quarterback was 9 of 12 for 87 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. That means almost nothing. Because you can tilt the scale however you want to in practice to get your stats going. Same thing with like spring football. Are the 1s versus 2s or 1s versus 1s? Are you going Skelly? Are you going against air? Like, let me know when the games are starting, Jamie. Let's go. Come on, Kent State, get out there.
I know. I think that and we've talked to Shane about this before too, and he, as much as as much as it is against other teams being able to pick up things that you're doing or trying to do, scouting you, whatever it is. And that is true. There are programs that do have people that would show up and take a bunch of notes, maybe some video, and then that would kind of go into their scouting department. But also at the same time, like, let's remember, these teams are scouting each other in the summer, and they're pretty smart, right, Mike? I know that South Carolina wants to shield all 12 opponents from what Kendall Briles is trying to bring to the South Carolina offense and how that's going to be executed. But all these teams that are playing South Carolina this year, I'm just using them as an example because that's our program. They have been scouting Kendall Briles as an offensive coordinator probably for like the last 8 years, for the last 6 months in preparation of their contest against South Carolina. So they got plenty of intel as to how they're going to want to go up against Carolina. Then you start playing the games and you get even more. They'll be well scouted. The other side of it though, and this is, I think this has as much to do, if not more, is how many things you have to deal with when you let people in to your circle. So, let's say you said, well, okay, fine. Fans want to come watch a practice. They can come watch a practice. Well, now all of a sudden you've got, let's say there's 500 people that show up, 10 of them who have decent followings on social media, and something gets portrayed on social media that's not. And then guess what you have to do as a head coach? And as an SID, Steve Fink, we've talked to Fink about this before, et cetera, you're trying to clean up a mess that didn't even exist before these random people walked into the ballpark to watch you practice. Like, there was nothing there. But that's how the rumor mill goes. And then it becomes a distraction. And then you take an extra amount of time trying to squash that. So if people do that, I bet you would have some more access. But you can't trust everybody. So you let them in, crazy things happen, and then that becomes something you have to deal with when it's not something you had to deal with before. I don't blame them. As long as, we can continue to get intel to do our jobs, I'm fine with it. I don't care. I really don't.
Yeah, look, I don't need it in my life, but I understand fans that are spending a lot of money would love to see a little bit more. It's something you can do, again, to go back to the NFL example, because all the teams do it. You bring the kid. The kids don't care that it's like you bring like a 6-year-old. They don't care that there's not 90,000 people and it's not a game and it's just a scrimmage. They just care like, oh my God, I actually gave Cam Newton Nux. I got an autograph from Steve Smith. That's everything to them. But again, you got coaches right now that are coaching for their life. Shane is on every hot seat board, whether you think it's justified or not. This is a huge year for him, for this staff, and for Carolina. They're not too worried about we didn't give them enough access or what have you.
Well, that leads right into what I caught this morning. I mentioned it in the Gamecock report that Heather Dinich with ESPN has South Carolina as a team that could make the college football playoff. The ESPN analytics give them an 11% chance, for whatever that's worth. And the thing too that stands out here, Mike, I understand the offensive production number. They return more production on offense than any other team in the SEC, 76%. I know that. We know that. We've talked to Ciancia about it. We're all.
I had that number a month ago. Honestly, I just stumbled upon it. I wasn't even looking for it, and I was just reading. I got that. I want to source it properly because this was before Ciancia and Steele and all those guys even had their guides out. It was an article on CBS. And I was just looking at it, and I was counting out the number of snaps that they had each offensive team for, and Carolina was number 1.
Yeah. Well, I mean, is it going off of stats or production? Because if it's going off of actual production, Carolina didn't produce a lot, so they could return.
Very true.
See what I'm saying? Like,
of course,
we're returning 76% of an offense that didn't really do anything. So
100%, JB. The classic joke for media days for years was, well, Vanderbilt has more returning starters than anybody, and the response from people like me was, well, yeah, what's the good news for them?
Right.
Vanderbilt was awful, so why is that a good stat? But no, I mean, this is meaningful production now in terms of the players themselves. To have a 3-year starter at quarterback that has the potential to be a first-round pick, to have a Nick Harbor back that gets better every year and has the potential to be a first-round pick. Dylan Stewart, forget about potential, he is a first-round pick. Mm-hmm. So when you talk about, and then to pick up a guy like Peak, like it's not just returning snaps, it's returning snaps from quality players. Now, your point is the most valid one, which is, yeah, but the team was 4-8 last year. Right. That obviously has to be fixed because honestly, I made this point last week. There's no guarantee this roster top to bottom, even with the recruiting going well. And, again, we talked about the culture is very positive under Shane. There's no guarantee the roster next year is going to be better than this one. You can make the case, the odds are it's actually going to decrease, right? Because you're going to have a new starter at quarterback who, no matter who it is, it's going to be a guy that has never taken a meaningful snap at Carolina. Has never, and depending on how the portal goes, has never taken a meaningful snap in the SEC, right? You're going to lose. I'm sure they're going to have some very talented players on the defensive line. Chances are it's not going to be a Dylan Stewart. Those don't come around every so often, okay? And if Nick Harbor becomes what everybody hopes he can become, you might have a really good receiving core, but you might not have the freakiest of freaks in Nick Harbor, and then you might not have a Peak. Like, there's a very distinct possibility that next year could be a little bit of a step backward in just pure raw talent. Doesn't mean they won't have a good record or maybe even a better record, but you could very well take a meaningful step back in terms of pure raw talent than what you have on this roster this year. You and I have talked about where are the weaknesses. I mean, is there a decided weakness on this team that you're like, man, this is going to be everybody's going to look at the offensive line, but they sure as hell did everything in their power to make that better, and I believe it will be. The secondary lost a lot, but there's a lot of guys that have taken significant reps that are back there.
Yeah.
So, like, as I try and poke holes in every team, that's just what we do if you want to get an honest assessment of them. I don't know where the glaring weakness is on this team.
Well, I think the conversation is more along the lines of which groups have the most to prove.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the offensive line has the most to prove. You mentioned, I wrote about those guys yesterday. They got 14 new guys on that. There's 21 offensive linemen on the roster. 14 of them are new, and they have a new offensive line coach who is in lockstep with an offensive coordinator. And I think Kendall Briles is the most important hire at the University of South Carolina since Steve Spurrier. Because what's been the problem since Steve Spurrier left? It's been the offense, and he is the most proven offensive coordinator. You could argue certainly this century. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, Steve was his own offensive coordinator along with Coach Mangus. But aside from that, there's been nobody with the resume of Kendall Briles running the offense here at the University of South Carolina. And I don't mean that disrespectfully to one of the kindest, coolest guys ever in Skip Holtz. But you talk about that group. I think the edge position is good, but they have a lot to prove. Starting with Dylan Stewart. When is he going to be healthy? And when he is healthy, look, man, he's a defensive end with a back issue. I mean, we have had good intel on this. I'll stand on that. He's still a defensive end with a back issue, So until it is just explicitly explained, it is not a problem anymore. In my opinion, it is going to be a problem. How big of a problem, Mike? I don't know. Is Dylan Stewart at 50, 60% better than everybody else out there? There's a case to be made for that. Certainly. Yeah, no doubt about it. But when you get a Dylan Stewart who's at 100% without any back issues, he's lethal. I mean, he's the best edge in the country. You mentioned Simmons at Texas. Those are probably the two that you circle. Okay, besides that, again, a lot to prove. I'm not discrediting the talent. That's not what I'm doing here. I think Julian Walker starts week 1. I said that last week. Julian Walker's a freak, and he looks like one. I mean, this kid is the next edge at South Carolina who's going to be expected to be a great player. Herring comes in from Tennessee. What has he proven to this point? A little bit, not a lot. Anthony Addison, we've heard a lot about him. What has he proven? Not much. Not saying they won't. I'm saying they get their chance to. From there, Mike, you nailed it. I mean, we expect a lot out of the linebackers. Clayton said last week they're the leaders of the defense. Same thing with the tackles. They're deep and they're good. The secondary, you just don't have a lot of worries with when Torian Gray's running it, and you look at how they continue to stack the classes. The wide receivers are deep and talented. Blocking's key there, so they still have a lot to prove. The running backs have a lot to prove, but we know the talent's good. And you know what? Honestly, Lenore Sellers has something to prove, but he's proven it before. It's just, can you get that back out of him? So I think it's the edges in the offensive line, because historically, when those guys play well, Carolina's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and historically, when Carolina's had, again, not a good defense, a great defense, they've had some of their best years. Even the Spurrier teams, I used to make the analogy. I mean, Steve's playbook at Carolina, there was some facets of fun and gun, but a lot of that playbook he just put aside and said, no, that's not how you win here. We need studs on defense, and we need a really good running game. And that's exactly what they got. Now, they also had terrific quarterback play, but they weren't pre-Dylan Thompson Well, that would have been Spurrier's. What was 2014?
Yeah, that was Thompson in 14.
Right, no, but coach wise, that was
Coach Spurrier.
That was his second to last year. 2015 was the year he just said, "Hey, you know what? I'm looking at this roster. I think I've lost the will to coach."
Yeah.
But the exception of 2014, Steve, those teams had explosive plays in the passing game, but they didn't rely on the passing game. Steve really evolved as a head coach, adjusting to the talent and the makeup of the rosters he had at Carolina, which were different than what he had in Gainesville for 12 years. I think this year you might have some adjusting as well. Now, you really would do yourself a lot of good to have a running game in 2026 and take some of the heat off Lenoris Sellers and to actually have, a defensive like safeties and linebackers. If there is a play action, or now everybody, it's like, well, we don't trust quarterbacks to do under center snaps. They don't feel comfortable. Let's just do RPOs left and right. And that works in college. It doesn't work in the pro game a whole lot. But on those RPOs, you need to have a threat. Fuller needs to be a threat to like, oh crap, we have to be honest. Because what if he does give the ball to Fuller, right? Then that could be a problem for us because he's a load. We've talked about this is a crowded year of exceptional SEC tailbacks. One of the best that I can recall in a while. I mean, you go like 1 through 8, we're talking dudes. You know how much pressure that takes off those quarterbacks to have that? We had Clark Brooks, SEC StatCat, on JC and Morgan last week. I don't know if you caught it. If you did not, it's evergreen, as we like to say. And he brought up the fact that like Trinidad Chambliss, he's high on him. He does a lot of like next level stats and detailed analysis. He's high on him, but he points out having Keywan Lacey and the way they ran that offense was so helpful for Trinidad Chambliss. Yeah. And he's right. And obviously you had no run game last year, so there was nobody to really help Lenoris Sellers in that aspect. Nobody was really overly concerned about Carolina's running game. You really were very easy to defend in a lot of ways. So now you have a chance to make that better and to be. You can't state enough how valuable Rocket Sanders was in 2024. We've kind of forgotten about him. It was like a 1-year rental, and he was good. You saw without him in the bowl game the way Illinois defended Carolina. Like, go ahead, run it. We know you. We'll go ahead and we'll take our chances. We're not going to let Lenoris run, and we're not afraid of whoever else you got back there. Let's go. And the rest, as they say, is history. By the way, Bielema, did you catch any of the Big Ten media days?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
Bielema went from this like lovable 6-pack, guy. He is trolling. He trolled Carolina and Tennessee and literally put on Twitter the box scores from each of those bowl games. The Big Ten had a field day. Their commissioner did a little trolling. Some of the coaches did some trolling. They are loving this 3-year run that they've had.
Well, I mean, I was surprised by Cignetti. I'm a big Cignetti fan, and
he's not afraid to troll. Yeah,
yeah, but the SEC would do themselves some good to break that streak and win a national championship. It's like Did I miss something? I mean, I know that the rest of the country has been sick and tired for a long time of the SEC beating its chest about all of the success in the league. I understand that. I'm confused. How many coaches over the years in the SEC have taken their time at national events like that to point out specific leagues and programs in those leagues and just fire off shots?
Right.
I mean, am I missing something?
No, it's a good point. There was never salvos fired specifically at the Big Ten. The Big Ten wasn't even like wasn't even an afterthought, quite honestly. It was like, oh, yeah, you mean the Ohio State Conference? Oh, Jim Harbaugh? You mean the Ohio State-Michigan Conference? If anything, there was more like salvos at the ACC, just kind of these indirect analogies of, well, yeah, we play 8 games in the SEC compared to 8 games over there. Not quite nearly as good. But I will say this, the SEC has pounded its chest for the better part of 15 years, reminding everybody that the proof is in the pudding, all the national championships, all the first-round draft picks, and so everybody got tired of hearing that. So I think the Big Ten is like, it's comeuppance time, and we're going to remind you ad nauseum that we're on a great 3-year heater right now, which they are. I mean, kudos to the Big Ten. We'll see how it shakes down this year.
Well, I mean, that's fine, but I mean, you even had Rhett Lashley at SMU firing off shots.
Yeah.
At SEC, and I'm like, dude, look, let me tell you something, Rhett. Okay, at the end of this coming year, if there's another coaching change, like let's say Brent Venables falls off the wagon and Oklahoma is looking for a new head coach and you're in contention, you will hop as high and quickly as you possibly can from SMU to Norman, Oklahoma to take the job if you're at the top of their list. Why? I get the chest pounding. We've all done it. I've done it. You've done it. We've all done it. We're all in SEC country. We all love this league. We've watched the successes of this league. We're all a part of that. If that's a problem to somebody else, we're a part of the problem. I get it. I understand that part. But I just don't remember head coaches taking their time in Atlanta or Birmingham or Nashville or Dallas, wherever the hell they do the SEC media days, to stand up there and go, well, you know, Iowa didn't play anybody. Where did that come from? Why? Why are you doing that? They pat themselves on the back.
It's jealousy. I mean, it's been a long-standing envy, and the national media doesn't help because they have joined along and has said, "Hey, SEC is where it's at," and people are jealous that the SEC network has like a Paul Feinbaum show. The ACC tried a Mark Packer show that didn't go anywhere. The Big Ten, I don't know if they have their version of Paul Feinbaum. Like, I don't, and I'm not sitting here and carrying water for Paul Feinbaum, but I'm just telling you, like, it's a 4-hour infomercial for the SEC that does good ratings, and no other league really has that. The Big Ten actually was the first one with their own conference network, and the Big Ten network and the SEC network, they perform very, very well. They make a lot of money and they get a lot of eyeballs. The other conferences don't have that. They don't have that luxury to that extent. So yeah, there's envy out there, but there's a lot of okay, you had your time, you had your fun in the sun, and now it's our time, and suck on it. There's a lot of that going on. But yeah, for 4 days in Chicago, the Big Ten just could not help itself. They had to constantly take little to large barbs and jabs at the SEC.
It's talking season still. It'll
yes.
It'll pick up soon. It'll pick up soon.
Yes.
All right. We are a little behind, so we'll have a very quick segment coming back. But if you can get us to one final timeout here, please, sir.
I sure can. I will quickly tell you the man with all your insurance needs is not just in South Carolina. He doesn't just carry that state. He carries North Carolina and Georgia. Got Gamecock fans that tune into this show from those states prevalently, as well as the entire Palmetto State. And Gary Patterson has you covered. He's had you covered for 30 years everywhere in the state. He's located in Lugoff, but he's a phone call away. And that's an important thing because if you've had one of these kind of cut rate insurance companies, you ain't dealing with an agent. You are calling up a number. You're getting somebody in Dubai. And hopefully, if you understand long enough, they will care enough to like at least treat your claim with some type of attention, but probably not much. You'd be surprised the rates are sometimes less than those guys, and the coverage is much better. And Gary's a guy you can call at any time. He's just working insurance and refereeing games in the ACC. 803-438-5000, 803-438-5000. You can also go on the website, GaryPatterson.net. A number of his his clients have actually come from this show, which is always great to hear. We love hearing that. 803-238-5000, Gary Patterson of State Farm Insurance.
We'll wrap up hour one quickly when we return.
If you own a home, don't wait on these home safety tips. Flush your water heater, clean your dryer vent, and inspect your roof annually. Don't forget to check washer hoses and caulk in wet areas. Visit RestoProsMidlandsSC.com.
Now is the time. Finish your hardwood floors with Recoat Revolution. Beautiful like new floors in just one day. Hardwood, vinyl, laminate, concrete, tile floors. Any floor. We can do it. No dust, affordable, and 5 stars. Give us a call in South Carolina, 803-397-1365. Or visit us at recoatrevolution.com. Go Gamecocks.
Do you carry? Carry responsibly with us. What could you lose from a self-defense act? Visit protectwithbear.com to find out more. Protectwithbear.com.
Troy Branham of Golden Gate Mortgage can help you save big today anywhere in South Carolina. Over 27 years experience. Visit ggmortgage.com. Troy Branham of Golden Gate Mortgage says go Gamecocks.
Dry Space Crawl Space Solutions are your local home protection experts. Crawl space encapsulation, sump pump and drain installs, humidity control, duct cleaning, basement waterproofing, concrete leveling, and French drains. We do it all. Visit dryspacecs.com. dryspacecs.com. Go Gamecocks.
If you have experienced water damage, storm damage, fire or smoke damage, or need mold remediation, you need Resto Pros of the Midlands. Visit RestoProsMidlandsSC.com and go Gamecocks.
Subscribe to FourQuarterFriday.com for just $1. High school sports coverage in South Carolina. Part of Rivals and on 3.
South Carolina football. Young men come to Columbia as football players. Some become heroes, and few become legends.
'Cause we're gonna be legends. Gonna get there and it's gonna be paid. It's about to be legendary. Yeah, we're gonna be legends. Gonna teach them all a lesson. Got this feeling in our souls we carry. It's about to be legendary.
In Columbia, South Carolina, legends never die.
We're close. 33 days until kickoff at Williams-Brice Stadium. Welcome back. Our coverage of Carolina football presented by Palm Casual, palmcasual.com, palmcasual.com. JC and Phil are coming up here in just a little bit. We'll get to our morning show scramble that has to do with the CFP and has to do with the University of South Carolina, and specifically Lenore Sellers and a couple of things like that. And as we mentioned earlier, as a reminder, Shane Beamer will give his annual preseason press conference, like where he'll kind of run the gamut, run the whole deal, go get in the boat and row the ocean, if you will, on what they're going to be doing, answer some specific questions, give you an injury report and things like that, coming up on Thursday at 3:00 over at the Jerry and Steve Spurrier Indoor Facility. And then South Carolina will come out at 9:25 on Friday morning and get ready for practice. 23 practices before the season commences, and that includes a pair of scrimmages as well on a couple of Saturdays as we get closer and closer. Carolina football. Told you this would be short and sweet, but we had to pay the bill, so we have done so. When we return, JC and Phil, and the Golden Tones will be back in as well. Hour 2 coming up.
Subscribe to thebigspur.com, proud partners of On3.
Gamecock Traditions is your Nike superstore and your home for anything and everything with a South Carolina logo. Visit us in the Midlands and order online at GamecockTraditions.com. Go Gamecocks!
It's time to bring the gym to you. Do it your way on your time in your home. We all have busy lives, kids, work, and anything else that can interrupt our daily routine. Maybe it's free weights or a treadmill. Maybe it's a rower or a home gym. Visit Charleston Fitness Equipment and start taking care of you. Do it your way. CharlestonFitnessEquipment.com. Go Gamecocks.
Visit fourquarterfriday.com and join the varsity club for just $1 today.
Whether it's fireside or poolside, if it's time to watch the Gamecocks, Palm Casual will make your outdoor space the best it can be. Visit palmcasual.com and come see us at one of our South Carolina locations. Go Gamecocks!
Today and every day, we celebrate our great state of South Carolina. This week, our hometown highlight takes us to the PD in Lake City, home of the great Darla Moore and our friends in Johnsonville. We love the PD.
Hey guys, this is Mason West with the West Law Firm. We want to say hey to all our friends and family out in Lake City and the Johnsonville areas. This is a great football part of the state. We can help y'all out in any way. Give us a call, 843-897-7525.
Tuned into Inside the Gamecocks, the morning show, part of the Chief Sports Network, proudly presented by the West Law Firm, and brought to you in partnership with Resto Pros of the Midlands. Go Gamecocks!
All right, final hour of the morning show. Welcome back. Presented by the West Law Firm and our buddies at Resto Pros, who are there when you need them. Resto Pros of the Midlands, RestoProsMidlandsSC.com. There is Phil. I don't know where the other guys are.
Well, your guess is as good as mine, but it's just me and you to kick off hour 2.
Good God.
Hold the scramble here until everybody else gets here.
Okay. All right. We're going to get to a morning show scramble.
Hey, quit thinking like a simpleton, too, over there in the, you know who you are in the chat box sneaking in through Twitter. That's not what determines.
It's not what we're saying.
Whether or not you can talk poorly about a conference. Jeez.
I wasn't even talking poorly about the league. All I was saying is they're firing shots at specific programs. I don't remember the SEC guys doing that, but anyways.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's interesting. You don't have to. It's kind of like the reverse of what Kurt Signetti said. You know, it was like, we don't go around complaining when we don't get our way. It was like, well, you know, you do. But actually, you complain real hard and then you lobby real hard because, you know, you've won 3, you know, national titles, which of course is a very simpleton way of viewing whether or not the strength of your conference is where it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, why you don't need to do that if you don't need to do that. But again,
no, right. Yeah. Some things don't need to be said.
Fresh out of hair and makeup is JC Sherbert. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good to be with you today.
Glad to be with you too. I'll read all of your emails here shortly. I haven't had a chance to follow along.
Oh, it's nothing exciting.
It's nothing pertaining to you, actually. So you're good.
Nothing exciting at all.
Okay. All right. Well, good.
Well, not all of them. Some of them, Phil. Jamie.
I
don't know if you were on the other ones. Yeah, you weren't on the other ones, Phil.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm only on the one. Yeah, who cares? Yeah, that's behind the scenes.
They probably all pertain to me somehow.
Well, I mean,
all roads lead to JB, man.
That's true.
All roads.
Some of those roads we need to have dead ends before they get this far. Damn it. But anyways, all right. It's 11:02. We do have a scramble to get to as well. I will say I do want to promote a little bit what's going on over at thebigspur.com because we're getting closer and closer to camp, and we've had the doors open a little bit on the intel department lately, things that we will be watching. So if you're not a subscriber, I sure hope you'll give it a shot for $1. Go to thebigspur.com. JC's got his Who Are the Forgotten South Carolina Men column up today. Carolina Countdown number 33, thought number 33 on our 100 Thoughts in One.
Title of that thing sounded like a Civil War documentary.
It did.
Like
yeah.
one of those videos
Forgotten
you pull off of like
Men.
ETV, Forgotten South Carolina Men.
Colonel Donovan Murph.
At the Battle of Chickamauga.
Colonel
Joseph
Donovan Murph.
Beauregard, Colonel
Came out-
Donovan Murph. Yeah.
Came out of his bunker to catch the touchdown.
Yeah, it's like, but I was like, I didn't know what else to title it because I was like, there's a difference between, like, in my opinion, between sleeper players and like the forgotten man. You know,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
forgotten man's usually like somebody's done something and somebody's seen something, and they just don't generate any offseason buzz because there's 110 players on the roster. The sleeper's the guy that you have no idea.
You just don't know yet.
Like DJ Black, if he ends up working out like people think he will, that's a sleeper.
Yeah.
A forgotten man would be more like a Donovan Murph, just to give people the. And I got 2 offense, 2 defense, 2 special teams.
Yeah, 100%. I tell you what, man, was it last night? Maybe it was last night. I think I was kind of just going back and going over a lot of the notes I took from Kendall speaking last week. And we'll talk about him here in just a second on the scramble. But boy, it sure does seem like South Carolina is lucky to have an offensive coordinator who has what they call an identity, because his comments about, well, no, if we got a problem, we got to be able to fix it right now. We can't wait 2 quarters. Can't wait till to get into practice. Can't look at the film tomorrow. We got a problem. We got to fix it right now. That tells you he's confident he can. If he's got a problem, he's got a solution. It's just a matter of whether it's executed or not. So, anyways, we'll talk about that because it's time to scramble. The morning show scramble presented by Recoat Revolution.
It's time for the morning show scramble. On Inside the Gamecocks, the morning show. Presented by Recoat Revolution. Beautiful, like new floors in just one day. Part of the Chief Sports Network.
Now wait to get those guys here to get our floors sparkling and shining. Snakes and sparklers. Name that movie. Anybody? Snakes and sparklers.
I have no clue.
You mean you don't have any whisker do's or whisker don'ts?
I figured Joe Dirt. Okay,
Joe
all
Dirt.
right. Yeah, I was like, that kind of sounds like in the line of that, but yeah.
Joe Dirte. Did y'all know, by the way, that there is it's official? Did I mention this last week that Days of Thunder 2 is coming with Tom Cruise?
I thought about Days of Thunder last week because Knocking on Heaven's Door was on that soundtrack, Guns N' Roses version.
Wow, you had your bandana on?
Did you like? Well, I wore the bandana on the show. There was no secret.
Well, I know that. I'm just saying. While you were wearing it, that's when you thought about it.
Yeah, it gets the brain juices flowing.
That's right. Yeah, it's a direct.
I mean, yeah, I tell you what. Sometimes I'm like, I wish I didn't have the brain I do, because it's like today I came up with 3 facts about Duke versus Clemson football series while I was researching your scramble question.
Ah, okay. So you did. You read. Okay. See, I gave y'all a heads up today. I felt like I should give y'all a heads up on that.
So the Tigers roll up to Wallace Wade the week before Carolina, and Duke has won 2 in a row in the series. I got, because there's a gap. You know, they beat them on that Monday night, and then they beat them, and it's a Friday night game too. So second straight game, not on a Saturday at Wallace Wade, and dating back to 2004. Clemson's 2-2 in their last 4 games at Wallace Wade.
Well, you know, you don't just walk into Wallace Wade Stadium in November and beat the Duke Blue Devils.
Heck no, Mike Morgan will tell you that.
100%.
He's part of the Wallace Wade crazies.
I've called a couple.
A couple.
Called a couple there in front of the rowdiest 27,000 Duke fans you can find.
Hey, Mike, how many? Isn't it only like 6,000 or 7,000 that fit into Cameron Indoor? You've called games there.
Yeah, I was there last year. Technically, it's just under 10 total. So it's like, I think it's 9 and change total capacity. Yeah, which when you go in there, you're like, how the hell do they fit that many in here?
Yeah.
But what they do that makes them so special, and I wish every school would take a page out of this notebook. You know, Auburn's done it since, Florida's done it. Their students have the best seats.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're giving up a lot of money doing that, but their students right there, what would that be? Yeah, behind the benches. They are all over there, and that's what makes that place an intimidating venue.
Well, it does cost $65,000 a year to attend Duke, so that's, you know.
Yeah, they're not hurting for cash. I think their endowment's pretty solid ground they have over there in Durham.
I'd say the kids are paying for the tickets one way or another.
The kids are definitely paying for. Yeah. They're not doing bad.
All right, we will. JC is just so impressed with hair and makeup today, so we'll start with him on this one as part of the scramble. You can take it any way you want to. You can take it to something specific. It can be. I left it that way for a reason, but because camp does begin this week. Notice I haven't said the word fall once until just now. It's not fall camp. It's August in Columbia. It's 90 degrees. So, what is the number one storyline, Mr. Schubert, for South Carolina as camp begins on Friday?
I didn't have to think. This is one I didn't have to research. I mean, it's got to be the offensive line until it's not. Or just protection and blocking in general. I mean, you know, Beamer's right in that it's not all on the offensive line. It never is. But that group has to be better this year. Just better this year. And you know, you're not going to be a world beater in the SEC because the D lines are so good. You see teams that recruit at a high level. I mean, Bill Biedenbaugh, who in another life owns a tire store in Norman, Oklahoma. But Bill Biedenbaugh tires. But he's one of the best offensive line coaches in America. He coached for Stoops. He's renowned. Look how bad Oklahoma's been on the offensive line the last 2 years. Right. It's not always coaching, you know, is what I'm saying. And I think there was coaching issues and playing issues at Carolina. But that just goes to show you, a guy like that at a program like Oklahoma has a bad O-line 2 years in a row. I mean, that means it's pretty difficult in this league to get that going. But it has to be. It has to be adequate. You can't take that many sacks or can't live up that many sacks. It just kills you. And I think the cohesiveness and the performance of that group has to be the number one storyline just because it's been a bugaboo for a long time.
I'm just going to slip mine in before you two gentlemen go because I'm bouncing off of that. Mine is the offensive line, but it's more specific. It's can they overcome adversity? I mean, this team, keep in mind, like they're going to get sacked because Lenore Sellers is going to run the football. So sacks are going to happen. KJ Jefferson was sacked 60 times in 2 years at Arkansas, 21-22. Those aren't numbers that are ever talked about, though, because he had 6,600 total yards of offense and 60 touchdowns. You know, and Arkansas was scoring points. They were averaging like 32 points per game during those 2 years. So there are going to be times this year where, like any other year, whether it's Steve Spurrier or Lane Kiffin or Kendall Briles, it doesn't matter. You're going to go backwards. You're going to have a bad drive. You're going to have a bad series. Can they overcome adversity? That's my big storyline. Is the drive over? Like last year, sack, you might as well punt it if it was second down because they sure as hell weren't getting 17 yards on second and third down combined. They just couldn't do it. It basically ended the drive. Can this group overcome adversity? I think that's the big storyline to me, specifically on the offensive line, and that basically means how quickly do they take on the identity of Kendall Briles and Randy Clements, because if y'all have noticed, since they've been here on campus, they ooze with confidence when they talk about what they do as coaches and how they execute things. They're very, very confident in how they do that. So that, to me, to JC, to drive your point home a little bit more, that would be mine.
Say that stat on Jefferson again. The sack stat.
He was sacked about 60 times in 2 years, about 30 a season.
That's a strong number. The first guy that ever turned me on to this idea or kind of number in the game of football was Sterling Sharp. Only actually the one time I ever had a chance, he came in studio with me and my partner at the time, gave us 2 hours, some of the best sports talk radio I've ever been a part of. And Sterling at the time was working on NFL Network, and we were talking about quarterbacks. Like God only knows who it was back then. Dante Culpepper, I don't know. And he said, guys, do you realize the most sacked quarterbacks are the most athletic quarterbacks? Because very often they don't throw the ball away. He said, I've played with both, and I'm telling you right now, he brought up Dan Marino was one of the most immobile quarterbacks ever, but he had the quickest release. He didn't take a bunch of sacks. I would say offensive line as well, but I would add a caveat. I want to see the push in the run game. Like, they're two different skill sets, right? Pass blocking and run blocking. I want to see an offensive line that just imposes its will on other defenses. Last year, we just assumed it was all, not all, but the running backs were kind of a disappointment. Maybe that was the case, but I think the offensive line could do itself justice by help giving this offense a run game again. I think it's imperative to have a good running game this season. If you're going to want to see like really good improvement out of this offense, that's not being talked about nearly as much as the play calling and the passing. Get a damn run game and be formidable with that part of your offense.
Yeah, and Briles runs a lot of power. There's zone in there too, but he loves the power. If you look at Baylor, from Baylor on up, and look at Tennessee, I mean, that's kind of the same offense. So they love running. They run it better. I mean, Tennessee runs it just as well as they throw it. That's the kind of the idea. I do hear they feel confident they're going to be able to run the ball this year, so we'll see.
Phil?
But last year's, I had this about last year's offensive line. That made no sense. The offensive line that averaged 320 pounds across the board, big old dudes, I mean, it's not like they got stood straight up. They just kind of patty caked. I'm still convinced that they were mind blown by some of the stuff, pre-snap stuff they had to remember, and especially at center. So,
well, I don't know. Did you peek at the offensive line story I put out yesterday?
I read every word.
So I put that line was sticking in my head. There's a guy, I heard him yell it in the stands. Do something about it, and kick somebody's ass. And
kick his ass, Seabass.
That was after Sellers went down. But I remember we talked about this on our program a bunch last year. And I'm not disparaging any of these guys. That's not what I'm doing. I'm talking about what it looked like from the outside world in. It never looked personal. You know what I mean? Like, it never looked did y'all take? I mean, Sellers, the ball snapped. He's running around, just trying to stay alive. Blow the whistle, like in Little Giants, and
that's necessary roughness.
And it just never felt personal. It was like take this personal.
It was bad. Yeah.
Who is at fault for this? And Beamer's blamed everybody. And you know what? Honestly, if I was Shane, I'd blame everybody too, because they all were at fault. We saw all of them screw up. God knows how many times last year. And Shane, his job as a head coach is to do everything he can to take as much off of these guys going into. There's a totally different scenario from where it was last year. Doesn't mean the results will be different. We hope they will be. But a lot of these guys are not at fault. They weren't even here. So he's sitting here going, hey, this was everybody's fault. It's a new day.
Carolina. Even if they're good last year, I'd still think it was a big question mark because you do have so many good new guys just naturally. So, anyway, go ahead.
I was just going to say, just to put it in perspective, I went and looked it up real quick because I didn't have this number off the top of my head by any stretch. But Carolina last year, rushing yards per attempt, dead last in the league, 3.2. What is a little surprising is that second to last, was Alabama. And I've mentioned this before. Last year was a crazy world where a lot of things that don't ordinarily happen, including Alabama and Texas could not run the football. Alabama was 3.4. But again, they had a passing game that made plays. They had a defense that made plays. Like apples to oranges, but 3.2 yards per carry. Most of the SEC teams are well over 4 in that category, and you've got a couple that are over 5, like Missouri. Missouri's always good at running the ball somehow. They were 5.3 last year.
Their run game is outside zone, but it's like a Denver Broncos kind of.
Yeah,
Drinkwitz has been good at it for years. And they'll catch. I mean, even against good defenses, they'll it's something in their scheme. Carolina, amazingly enough, last year seemed to be a team though that came into the year. The big plan was to line up like an NFL team and run the ball. And I just got to question how realistic that was after games 2 when they couldn't get a push on South Carolina State.
Yeah. Well,
it was just unrealistic. It was the whole setup last year on offense was just unrealistic.
Well, and when you compare it to Missouri, sorry, Phil, I know we're interrupting, but I'll say that when Missouri, when we watch them, I can close my eyes and see it. It's like somehow they just multiply guys outside of the tackles when they're running that power game. Like you think that, okay, you got a tight end here and you got one guy wide, but all of a sudden the whole team's out there blocking somehow, and you don't ever have enough guys. You know what I mean? Like I don't. It is really fascinating how Eli has figured out that run game and because it's like slow motion, but then they're 7 yards down the field and it's 2nd and 3.
You think they're going to bottle them up, and all of a sudden they hit this little crease and it's the 2nd and 3. I mean, not just against Carolina either. They've done that. And then what they do, they'll outside zone you to death. And then all of a sudden you get a just right up the gut and your linebackers are cheating. And then it's a 50-yard touchdown right at the middle.
Yeah,
they're very good at that. I got to give Drinkwitz credit. He's been doing it for years, and it's different. It's because he's a Malzahn coaching tree guy. Gus didn't do. I mean, this came out of his brain, which is also a very good brain. Eli Drinkwitz has a very good brain.
And it's not all Ahmad Hardy. Remember, they had a Division II transfer lead the league in rushing before that.
Cody Schrader, baby. Yeah. I mean, it's
now granted, according to the numbers, remember, they can't beat anybody. They haven't beat one team since he's been there who's finished with a winning record in the SEC, which is crazy.
Did you guys realize they lost all 11 starters off their defense?
Everyone.
Yeah.
It's a startling stat. Phil, what was your storyline? I'm sorry we interrupted you 10 minutes ago.
No, that's all right. I mean, kind of piggybacking off of everything else, the offensive line, I think Sellers as a function of whether or not that line can communicate and execute a simpler system. That's what it is we all know that this is kind of a more college-like offensive system. Will they be able to operate it at a level higher than the complexity that has been perhaps the past, 5 years of offense?
Well, then that leads into number 2, and we'll let you answer number 2 since we delayed your time. We want to make sure that
I'll yield back.
You get your that's okay. So does Lenore Sellers break the total touchdowns mark then this season of 31 in a single year?
I did a little digging on who and when this has happened, and I'm feeling very positive about the offense, but I don't know if he does 31. I say, 29, 30 is a bit more reasonable. I'm going to say no. And that way, the whole narrative of nobody believes in us continues to echo throughout the halls of the football facility.
Starting with you.
That's right. Yeah. You can hang my face up on the wall. I don't know how good that's going to do, but
I'll send word.
If you need one to throw darts at and draw, funny glasses and a cigar coming out of my mouth, and I'm your guy.
These are all real records that could be broken this season by Lenore's total offense in a single season. Dylan Thompson holds that record, 34.92 back in 2014, and total offense in a career. He is 32.99 shy of breaking Todd Ellis's record of 9,351 total yards. So if he gets to 3,300 this year, Sellers will own that record. total touchdowns responsible for, the one we just mentioned. If he gets to 32, he'll own that record. Connor Shaw and Dylan Thompson both did it in 31 back-to-back, 2013 and 2014. And then touchdowns responsible for in a career, Connor Shaw also, that is his record, 74. And Lenore Sellers is 28 shy of tying it. So 29, he would own that record. He could own a lot of records. Could Lenore Sellers. Mike, does he get there? Does he break 31 total touchdowns in a single season?
How many did he have in 2024?
25. That was before they figured it out and without 6 quarters that he didn't play.
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing. Is he going to play? He needs not play 4 quarters against Kent State and Towson. But if they really want to like juice up the numbers, you can keep him in there for all 8, and he can have 10 touchdowns through week 2 if you really want him to.
I think you bring up something interesting there. So let me throw this at you. I would think that that's a great question. Shane would never answer it because he'd be like, "Well, you're assuming we're up by a bunch." But what I'm getting at here is, you don't want him to get hurt against one of those teams. That'd be bad news for you as the head coach and the rest of your staff and anybody involved in the decision to leave him in a game late that's totally out of reach when he doesn't need to be in there. This is also a new offensive system.
Yeah, I thought about that.
10 straight Power 4 teams coming up.
Right.
As a coach, where is that line where you go, okay, we've seen what we need to see out of him today. Let's put him on the sideline.
You want to build his confidence up. You want the offense as a whole to build its confidence up. So I could see both sides of that argument on how long to play him in 2 games that I'd be shocked if Carolina does not win by at least 5 touchdowns each.
Yeah, agreed.
Each.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, 30. You say 31?
It's 31.
I mean, that's a pretty gaudy number. The safe pick would probably be under, but I certainly wouldn't rule it out. I'm less concerned about like records. I mean, you mentioned Todd Ellis has the passing record. He also has the national record for interceptions with 73. So like piling up stats to me is not the goal here. It's like, okay, what do you need to do to help your team win 8-9 games? Right.
I think it's a reflection of whether the offense is working or not. The reason I say that, the last 5 offenses that Kendall Briles has run, doesn't matter the quarterback, Josh Hoover, Chandler Morris, KJ Jefferson, Felipe Franks, if they have averaged 31 touchdowns per season. And
how many did Hoover have last year?
31.
Wow.
And he had 31 the year before as well.
And KJ, before he fell in love with fettuccine Alfredo, he had a lot of.
That was before he had to play for somebody else too.
Hey, KJ Jefferson, good to see you.
Crazy those numbers correlate. Like that's the record at Carolina. That's what these guys are averaging under Kendall.
I don't understand how you play for. Speaking of Gus Malzahn, I don't understand how you play for him. You go into his offense and you go, I think I need to gain 40 pounds.
Right. You know what would help me out here?
I like
getting
Damon,
winded in the
like
third.
Damon Wayans in the movie The Great White Hype. Remember, he was the boxer. He was fighting Peter Berg, Irish Terry Conklin. It's a wild movie. It's got John Lovitz and Samuel L. Jackson in it. Damon Wayans didn't even train for the fight and knocked him out in one punch. That's what it reminded me of. It's like, he's such a bigger, better athlete. I'm just going to go in there and destroy the Big 12. And it didn't happen.
Doesn't happen that way. No. Doesn't happen that way. I'll play it safe and go under, but there's no reason why that number could not be established. A lot of it too will depend on, all right, you're first and goal at the 5. You're going to hand it off, or are you just going to say, Lenoris, get it done?
Mm-hmm. It's an average of, if you do it, it's 2.67 touchdowns responsible per game.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Let's see that sack total go down. Let's see yards per attempt. I mean, some of the numbers that I think are just as important, if not more, in terms of getting Carolina successful and having wins. Clutch. I think Carolina has a chance to be in a lot of close games fourth quarter. We talked about that Gunnar Stockton stat, how good he was. He's automatic in the fourth quarter. How do you do in the fourth quarter in those swing games when it's down the street? It's the final drive of the game. 1st and 10 from the 25. Minute 27 on the clock. What do you got?
Yeah, and it's been mixed with him. 2024, A&M was closer and they broke it open. Missouri, Clemson came through. Starting with Illinois in the bowl game last year, though, not so much. Virginia Tech, I thought he was clutch in the fourth quarter because that was he made some plays to salt it away. Then nothing happened. So it's not all on him, but yeah. I love that clutch stat, Mike. I think that's called it being. That's why Fernando Mendoza won the Heisman. I was sitting at the lovely Buffalo Wild Wings with the wife watching the Penn State game. Penn State had them beat, and that dude just came through and threw an amazing pass. Great catch by the kid too to win it. That was his Heisman moment. So that's what great players do, man. That's why everybody's excited about Lenoris at the end of 24 because he did stuff like that.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah. The Clemson game is the obvious exclamation point on the plays that he had. But you want to see the Mendoza, ice water. Same thing against Miami, the plays that he made late in that game. Go back and YouTube the Gunnar Stockton throw against Tennessee. And they don't win that game.
I saw that live, dude. That was
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Missouri last year, too. I was at that one. twice with his arm, Lenoris led Carolina down the field to win. So
I thought that was one of his best games. Was
throwing the ball.
The Missouri game, 2 years ago?
Yeah, he threw for 353 that day. So.
Yeah, that was – if I were to pick like a game that I'd love to see more of, that would be it.
Sweet. Is it my turn to answer now?
Yeah. You think he breaks it?
I'm going over, and here's why. Because Josh Hoover, who has his feet are kind of like the Fred Flintstone's car, made of cement and boulders. Josh Hoover had 8 rushing touchdowns in this offense, and I've seen it. Kendall Browse likes to run the quarterback when he gets down low. Now, for God's sake, can South Carolina please not lead the country in 1st and goal from the 9.5?
Yeah.
Every freaking time they're down, it's 1st and goal from the 9.5, and everybody starts sweating.
As a matter of fact, JC, that should probably be a drill with the Gamecocks. Like if you've got a chance to get inside the 10-yard line and pick up a first down, go down before the 10-yard line.
10.5, dog.
Slide at the 11.
Of all the things that have other crap that happened last year, that just seemed to be a trend. And it's precarious when you're 1st and goal from the 9.5. It's a long way to go. But anyway, Browse likes to run the quarterback down there, and that makes sense, especially with Sellers. It made sense with Jefferson. Doesn't make any sense with Hoover, yet he did it anyway. And so for that reason, I think they'll use him as a inside the 10 weapon, just like everybody else has. That's not Kendall Browse isn't reinventing the wheel, but the willingness to do that, I think too, there'll be option routes and stuff, and that'll cause his touchdown numbers to go up. So, and like you say, he had 25 2 years ago. That's only 6 more. So, I'll go over with it just because of the method of deployment, if you will.
What's the record for TD passes at a season?
Oh, that's probably Tannehill had it.
Are you talking about Carolina?
Carolina,
South Carolina, yeah. I think it's Tannehill in 95.
Yeah.
And what was that number? High 30s?
In the 30s.
No, 29.
29?
Yeah, because remember I did the math on this. Lenoris could break that record in Clemson if he gets to 30. Like if he threw 30 touchdown passes this year.
Jamie, are you sure? I thought somebody had over 30 in a season.
Well, the record for total touchdowns is 31.
For total touchdowns in a season?
That's what we're talking about.
Well,
I thought you okay. For Carolina.
Well, I specified touchdown passes just as an additional. Both numbers seem low, to be honest with you, but
Tannehill in 95 at 29. They're showing that.
So that was it, huh? Wow.
Yeah, told you.
How many Jake Bentley have in 18?
How many Dylan Thompson have in 14?
See, Thompson was the one I figured Mike could have competed with.
Dylan had 26.
Dylan had 26 and he ran for 5, I think.
But yeah, and in 14 too, we had Wilds and Davis in the backfield, and that matters too as far as touchdown passes go. I'm shocked nobody from the Spurrier era got more than 30 because
because Connor, Steven, those guys, it was just a different offense.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, dog.
Where do you think I get you? Where do y'all think I get this stuff from?
Nah, I wasn't questioning you. I was just like, I needed to look at it. Yeah, okay, so Jake, all right, so here's what it was. I remember because Jake had the record in sight in 18, and they played Akron, and I'm convinced that game was ugly. It was a makeup game, and after the Clemson game, and I think he was pressing, and then of course they got shut because we all thought he was going to break it because he only needed 3 more, and but he had 27 that year. So that's what I was thinking of. I thought 30 something was the record, but yeah, I'm sorry for questioning you. I'm embarrassed.
Okay, please forgive me. It is a low number. I mean, relatively speaking, that's like.
Considering they ran a run and shoot offense.
I know they had a run and shoot, and then they had a Hall of Fame play caller for 10 and a half years. Yeah. I mean, but again, quarterback play is, it hasn't been ultra strong for much of the 100+ years.
Nope. All right. 2 more here. JC, or no, Mike, you'll start this one. Which college football playoff contender are you not buying?
Contender? Like everybody's got them in a playoff.
Yeah, or close to it. Knocking on the door. They're a contender.
Not everybody. Yeah.
This isn't like South Carolina. Dinich has them as a top 30 team. Like, this is a real contender. I'm not buying them this year. There's always somebody.
Where's I just got my pick 6 guide in the mail.
Mm-hmm.
Good beach reading if you're thinking of something.
If you take my answer, Mike, because you opened pick 6 previews, I tell you, we're gonna have to talk about money.
I think I know who JC's gonna say.
JC, do you want to go first?
It breaks my
JC's
heart.
gonna say Florida. No.
I don't think contender. Yeah, that's not. I mean,
yeah. I don't think I don't even think they're a contender. But I'm hearing a lot of people say that.
I heard it last year too about the Gators. Andy Staples said it straight up.
Yeah. Well, this year though, a new coach. He's great speeches at the microphone, and
Mike, you're very familiar with Gainesville and how those people.
Yeah. Well. They've also been beaten psychologically for the last 15 years.
Yeah,
Florida and Auburn. Yeah, they both have PTSD right now. So I don't know if they're all jumping on that bandwagon. That's such a tough question to answer. Like, so here are the teams that I'll just say this that Brett has in: Oregon, Texas, Texas Tech, Boise State, Oklahoma, Ohio State, Miami, Ole Miss, Indiana, Southern Cal, Notre Dame, Georgia. Mm-hmm. Am I supposed to be skittish on any of those? I'm really not. Well, you know what? I'll say this. I'm not. I'll take Southern Cal off the board.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Why? Because of their schedule?
No, it's just because I had them last year. Like, I'm not as high on Maeva as some people are. Their schedule in the Big Ten is legit. Like, they draw a lot of the heavyweights.
Draw all of them.
And I'm not putting money on Lincoln Riley anytime soon. Like, I'm not there. So if I had to pick one, I'll say Southern Cal.
Wow.
Of that bunch, I'm sure I'm overlooking somebody, but JC will fill in the blank.
What about you, Sherbert?
I'm rolling with the Tide, dude.
Oh!
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, now look, I could be DA wrong about this because this roster looks a lot like a Kalen DeBoer roster. There's a lot of California players on this roster coming from the South. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of guys you didn't really heard of. They think Desmond Umazulu is going to be their situational pass rusher at the bandit position. They have questions on both lines of scrimmage at the University of Alabama. They did not get a difference maker running back after Texas took Hollywood Smothers. Their quarterback situation, Keelan Russell's immensely talented. I don't think they can coach a guy like that. They've never done it. Some people think that, Michael Penix was a dual threat guy because he can move around a little bit. He wasn't. He's a passer. Mike knows that. They love passers. So they'll go with Austin Mack, who again is in the Josh Hoover school of shoes. And they didn't, hopefully their answer to fixing the O-line, they hired a guy that has been a great recruiter through the years, Adrian Clinton. He's never really had a great offensive line. So I just got to, some places, maybe, and then he may go out and shock the world and they win the whole thing. And I may look like an idiot. But Alabama's it for me. And I hate it because I like Alabama. I'm not an Alabama hater, but I just, where are the players?
Yeah, I could see that.
The other part of it on defense is this. When I hear their defense is going to be good, their secondary is elite. Yes, it is. But they have questions throughout the front seven.
Yeah.
So how many Carolina secondaries here have been elite with multiple NFL players, and the front seven stunk? And were those defenses any good? How about no?
It doesn't look like Saban, Alabama.
It doesn't, and their fans know. But I just have to, I don't know, man. Alabama just to me. One thing about Southern Cal, y'all know Gary Patterson's the D coordinator there now.
Yeah.
Lincoln Riley's in the I'll try anything school of defense.
Oh yeah. That's the Mac Brown. Let's try Gene Chiswick and see if we can find some old glory. That didn't work in Chapel Hill. I don't think Gary. I'll say one thing about Gary. Gary is a no nonsense son of a gun. The only coach that I ever went into a room and he literally chewed out my analyst for 5 minutes in front of me and Laura Rutledge to the point where I felt sorry for him. I thought he was going to break down in tears. Gary just absolutely eviscerated him. Gary is like no nonsense. Is this the way it's going to be? And maybe that's what they need over there. Because Lincoln's kind of a, hey man, he fits well into the California laid back laissez-faire vibe. They need somebody to crack some skulls, a la the principal in the Breakfast Club. So maybe he helps, but I don't think it's going to be a complete difference.
I agree with JC for two reasons. I think they're in the middle of an identity crisis, and they got that 4-game stretch where they host Georgia, go to Tennessee, host A&M, go to LSU. I think they lose 2 of those, and if they lose another one somewhere else, they're we'll see. So.
Yeah, and the question was contender, because a lot of people do have Alabama out, including the list I just gave.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people don't think Alabama is worthy of a playoff spot, but there are a lot of people that still do.
A lot. Yeah. And
I saw yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I
think you're behind, Jamie. I think you got a delay or something, or maybe the delay is on me. I don't know. But the rest of you guys are coming through clear. No, I think that Alabama. The other thought process is, even though JC, you're on with the Sanderson boys every week. I don't know how they could afford that latest buyout. I mean, there's going to be hot seat talk if they don't make a playoff, but I don't know how you're going to fire them. So
that's why I was like, why?
Yeah, right. So, but if God forbid Alabama misses a playoff for the second time in 3 years, and let's say loses 4 games, which would all but clinch them being out of it, it's going to be so nasty there. It's going to be such a blank show over in T-Town and beyond.
Then what if Auburn beats them in Tuscaloosa?
Then it'll be a blank show to the 10th power.
My mom's ratings are going through the roof if that happens, because the whole country, it's like everybody wants to watch their downfall, and they've been just good enough under DeBoer to where you can't really, but I mean, everybody was laughing their butt off by the Rose Bowl last year. You let them hang a 6-6 on the board this year, or 7-5, and lose to Auburn at home.
They should have lost to Auburn 2 years ago.
Yeah, when it's down there, it's close though. When it's in Tuscaloosa, the tide's been rolling. So I just. But that's my pick, and it kills me. But I keep wanting a reason to think they're going to be good, and I think it just at important positions they're either average or below average, or at quarterback they're unsettled. And then even at receiver, everybody's like, Ryan Williams is. Well, Ryan Williams needs to learn how to drop the ball. They've got 2 more guys behind him, and then they lost their second best guy to Texas in the portal, and they're worried about depth at receiver. And I'm like, so if you're going to throw the ball and you can't run it, you don't have an offensive line, and you may start cement shoes at quarterback. Well, what's good about this offense? The tight end? No, it's a new guy there too. You got a bunch of California kids way far from home. And then it's hot. Yeah, it's just not. It just doesn't. There's a lot of potential pitfalls there for Alabama this year. Now, and they'll probably beat the Gamecocks by about 48 points in week 4. Now that I've said that, but I just don't see it. And then we'll see.
If they do lose that game at home to Carolina, it's lights out on the season. Because you look at the rest of the schedule, it would be far and away the only game they lose. They're losing minimum 3 at that point, and probably 4.
Mm-hmm. Phil?
I still think a 3-loss SEC team could get in. I don't think a 4-loss team has any chance in a 12-team playoff.
Who you got, Phil? Who are you?
Indiana. I'm going with Indiana.
Oh,
yeah. It's
Google me, Phil.
Put me, yeah.
Google me.
I almost said Indiana. The problem is I don't know all these transfers, and your well has run dry on JMU's, which has been successful. So, his footing with James Madison transfers actually supporting and holding up this team with a better quality quarterback. And I don't believe in Josh Hoover whatsoever. Not in that league. I just don't get it. So yeah, I think Indiana goes 9-3, gets left out, actually bumped by their in-state cohorts, the Golden Domers, and they're going to have something to complain to the college football playoff about. The given spot for Notre Dame. And
can I give you some? Let me give you something on this, Phil. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I agree with you or disagree with you. I would say I would probably disagree, but that's okay. I don't know. Everybody's circling the back-to-backs. Ohio State at Michigan. Anybody know who they play the week right before those 2 teams?
They're at Nebraska.
Yeah. They better be careful there.
Look, man, but listen to this schedule until October 17th. They're going to be the AP will rank them number 1 in the country.
They're not losing the first 5 games.
Bro, North Texas rolls in there.
Yeah.
Howard, that's a tough one. Ooh, North Texas lost their entire team to Oklahoma State, by the way.
Yes.
Howard rolls in there, and then Western Kentucky, and then Northwestern. 4 straight home games to open the season. Then at the mighty Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Indiana have more fans there. At Nebraska, that is still a tough place to play. Ohio State comes to Bloomington. Michigan on the road. Minnesota comes in. Then they're off. Then they play Southern Cal at home. And then it's a tricky road trip right before the big Purdue battle is at Washington. You got all the way into Seattle. Washington could be okay this year. So it's easy in the first half, challenging in the second.
All right, final one here. Surprise college football playoff contender. Surprise college football playoff contender. JC, we only got 3 minutes here. We got a break.
All right, Virginia Tech.
Oh. Well, that would be a surprise. Yeah.
Schedule. Yeah. VMI, Old Dominion. He ain't losing Old Dominion. At Maryland, at Boston College. Pitt on a Friday night at Blacksburg. Now, if they survive the trip to Berkeley on a Saturday, then they have Georgia Tech at home. So they may be under James Franklin, who's kind of a front runner, 7-0 going to Clemson October 24th. Then they're off. They do have to go to SMU. Stanford comes in, and then it's at Miami and Virginia. They could be 10-2, get to the ACC championship game and win and get in, or they could be, better than that. It's just not. And they got a big talent upgrade, and then the players that they left that were left are actually pretty good. They underachieve. So I think their roster is better than people think, and this schedule gives them a chance to get off to a really good start and build confidence.
So we're back to the same old when it comes to scheduling. I'm with you because of the same reason, but I'm going with Penn State. I think Penn State is a surprise college football playoff contender. They open with Marshall. They go to Temple. They've got Buffalo and Wisconsin back-to-back at home. Then they go to Northwestern. Does anybody see a loss in those first 5 games? Nope. After that, Southern Cal, at Michigan, Purdue, at Washington, Minnesota, Rutgers, at Maryland. They play nobody other than being on the road at Michigan, and then you've got maybe, as you pointed out, Washington. I can't see a game. Southern Cal might be favored to beat them, but that game's in Happy Valley. They'll be favored to win all those other games. Penn State, surprising CFP contender to me.
Yeah, we could see an undefeated Penn State march into Indianapolis and get slaughtered by whoever they're playing, and then make the playoff. Yeah, second time in 3 years. Matt Campbell can engineer that too. He's a good enough coach.
Yep. Mike, who you got?
Just occurred to me, I am not as prepared as you guys because you guys read the email, right? That's you put all this in the email, didn't you? That's why you sent the email.
I normally would not prepare for the scramble.
Yeah, typically we go in cold to the scramble, but we got the advance warning. I was like,
yeah,
I don't sound like an idiot for once.
I'm used to going in cold, and then I realized, like, man, these guys are really sharp, like right on point. And I mean, JC had Alabama like locked and loaded, and I'm sitting here scrambling. Like, that's why you read the email, right?
Well, it's okay. I sent it late.
Yeah, it was a little late. It was a little tardy. And I'm used to you ignoring every text message and email I send, but that's okay. I'm going to do a better job.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Bear Bachmeier and BYU.
Oh.
Because
I like that.
Texas Tech is still the favorite, even with the Sorsby debacle. Everybody remembers last year, BYU went into Lubbock and got rolled. But I like Bachmeier. I love their coach. I like their talent. The schedule is manageable. Somebody's got to come out of the Big 12. I'll take BYU. The Fighting Mormons.
BYU and Texas Tech. Those are the two that represent the Big 12.
Well, I'm not sure Texas Tech gets in.
Oh, that would be.
It could be a one-bid league.
It'd be pretty cool for the rest of the country because they were at one point in time were a great story, and now nobody wants to see them do anything.
I mean, look, I still think they're a great story.
I just don't know where they lose.
Tech?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have their schedule pulled up, but
I don't know who beats them.
I mean, there's some scrappy teams in the Big 12.
Coach Prime will pull the upset in Boulder.
He's the one, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because they avoid BYU. Do they have like they don't even have to play like a West Virginia or anything?
Do they have Utah?
No.
Nope.
They don't have Utah or BYU. It's Houston that first in week 3. Houston comes up. Houston's supposed to be really good. Houston at Colorado, Arizona State at Cincinnati. Wow, that would add some storylines. Arizona at home. They do play West Virginia. It's in Lubbock, though. At Oklahoma State, which it's basically North Texas from last year. At Baylor, which has been average for a while. And then TCU comes to Lubbock. Yeah, it's a very light Big 12 schedule. And Abilene Christian at Oregon State and Sam Houston are the other games.
But remember, the automatic bid is who wins that Big 12 championship game, right?
Yeah.
Haven't changed that yet.
Exactly. To your point, if they have one loss with this schedule, they may not get in. I mean, you can't justify it if they don't win the Big 12.
Right. And so even if BYU stubs its toe once or twice, I mean, they'll probably lose to Notre Dame in a non-conference game. Mm-hmm. That's actually in Provo, October 17th. That'll be fun. But even if they lose that, and even if they lose to Utah, they could still, as long as they get to the Big 12 championship game, they're 4 quarters away from having an auto bid to the playoff. Mm-hmm. And I believe in any quarterback that wears number 47.
He's also
that's
part Thai.
He is. That's right. He is.
My wife loves him.
I bet.
We sat here and pulled for BYU against Georgia Tech in the Pop-Tarts Bowl.
The X Factor. He's part Thai.
Part Thai.
Oh man,
Phil.
So you don't.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you got Louisville. That's who I'm going with.
That's a good pick.
I like that
pick.
Not very rough away schedule at all. Even if you take the loss to open against Ole Miss, right? Like you're going to run roughshod through the rest of the schedule. And I think that's a path of least resistance. So
that's a great pick.
I like that pick, Phil. That's strong.
Yeah.
Stronger than dog's breath. I also love the coach.
Yeah,
the Braum factor.
Braum too. I thought he kind of would move on, but then I wasn't surprised that he didn't. So I don't know, but this could be the year of the Cardinal.
That's a great pick. NC State, JC's Dave Doran, fighting Dave Dorans it might have a shot to clip them in October, but that would be just one of their annual 7 wins. So
right.
Yeah, they're not at NC State. You pay your pendants.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, if you get a huge upset because they've pulled their share, you're going to lose to Wake Forest or somebody
at Stanford.
At Stanford, it's no joke. It's just the way it is. Like. It's just karma. If you're an NC State fan and you do something amazing, you're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
And you're because you got to stay. The universe has to stay in balance, right? The universe depends on Dave Doran going 7-5 every year.
That's right.
Like the moon would crash into the earth if it doesn't happen. So the football gods are making sure that happens.
Yeah. By the way, that concludes the morning show scramble, but. That was pretty funny last week when I made my typical dry humor comment to Ciancia. Phil, do you remember that? And I said, yeah, JC's old drinking buddy, Dave Doran. He goes, well, that's great. I love Dave Doran myself.
I love Dave Doran too. That totally went over his head. I was like, yeah, no, man.
And I was like, I just kind of sat there and I was like, oh, well, anyway.
Not sure if Brett watches the show on a regular basis.
Yeah, that's great.
I know. I was sitting there thinking, JC, don't do it. Don't do it. Just let it go.
It's a more of a running joke at this point. I just think the guys. But NC State's one of those programs. Everybody says that they always have this great potential, and then they just never do it.
Yeah,
I mean, Lou Holtz did about better than anybody there. And then Dick Sheridan did it good. Those are two hell of great coaches, Lou Holtz and Dick Sheridan. It just didn't happen.
Well, I mean, what's the difference in NC State and South Carolina?
Well, I was just thinking the same exact thing.
Well, they're not. South Carolina's not a basketball state or a basketball conference.
I'm talking about from a results standpoint.
Oh, results?
From a result,
they're
yeah.
maybe a little better historically.
Yeah. There might be a parallel there, or even like when you go 9-4 and everybody's loving on you. And you're sneaking in top 10 polls, you pull up a 4-8.
Yeah.
Gamecock fans have seen that movie before.
Yeah, like last year.
That's the prime example. What was the record in 85 after the 84 campaign and the loss to Navy?
5-6. But I hear tale that something happened back then. It was before my time. Something happened where there was a bunch of players academically ineligible the next year for some reason. The University of South Carolina was run pretty horribly back during that time. And so they didn't have good players. Michigan and Jim Harbaugh came to town for the opener, I think, and beat him pretty good. But
Muschamp. Oh, sorry. I was going to say, just to carry on to that, Muschamp, back-to-back good years to start. And then what was year 3?
Slipped to 7-6. That was 18 because the entire defense got hurt, and then 19 was the bad one. It was
the beginning of the end.
North Carolina and Jake Bentley got hurt. And, ironically, in that year, guys, they beat Georgia on the road.
Yeah.
Go figure.
That has to be one of the most stunning upsets.
It's never really been that. Lou Holtz and after 2000, 2001, they get to 2002, the Corey Jenkins era,
and then it's 5-7.
Spurrier had it going as well as anybody for 4 years, and then the hype was through the roof for 14. And then,
will we ever see a 4-year run of 42 wins again? Because that's what Spurrier did. 9-11-11-11.
You gotta believe.
That's right.
42.
It's hard for anybody in the SEC to do that. without deep playoff run, because obviously if you play 15 games.
And you have to remember how it started, because Carolina's only been top 25 in the preseason 11 times ever.
Yeah.
And just 4 of those 11 did they actually still finish in the top 25. And 3 of them happened 11, 12, and 13. But people were excited about Marcus. Obviously, Alshon was returning. Steven was returning. But there wasn't a bunch of fluff with South Carolina football going into that 2010 season either, because of what happened at the end of 2009, if you all remember. I mean, that Carolina beat Clemson. It was a below average Clemson team. And then they go and play Connecticut in the Papa John's Bowl, and everybody's like, oh my God, what on planet Earth is going on around here? But there was some hope, but it wasn't like that type of hope. Hey, we have a chance to win the SEC East.
Yeah, myself though, I kind of felt like that 6th year. I was like, if Spurs ever going to break through, it's this one, because Georgia had some questions, and Tennessee was not going to be very good, and Florida was breaking. Tebow was gone, so there was a new quarterback. And Carolina, of course, had to get down there, but I didn't see Marcus Lattimore. But people talking about him being the next Herschel Walker. I thought he'd be quite good, not that good, and he put him on his back, and they had a really good team. But but I did feel like, though, as far as the Spurrier era went, I was like, they need to get to Atlanta. Yeah, shoot, they need to get to Atlanta, especially after they beat Georgia. I was like, the division's right there. And they did it. I mean, so the pressure off.
Yeah.
But
had
lost to Kentucky in one of the craziest games I've ever seen.
And Harrison, you're right. But remember, Clemson was kind of maybe below average was too. Maybe we should just say average. I guess I'm kind of thinking about in comparison to what the Tigers began. But Clemson was 9-5 in 2009. Like they weren't. Remember, South Carolina in 2010, like those two teams are kind of reflective of one another. They both won championships when teams around them were kind of floundering around, but they were able to kind of survive it. But that 2009 Clemson win, it was a big win because it broke a streak, not necessarily because Clemson was what Clemson had become yet. It was kind of my point. But they won I know they won the division. I guess they didn't win the whole league that year, didn't they? So
no, they won the division. 2009 Clemson. Billy Napier's finest hour as an offensive coordinator. They had Davis and Spiller. No, they just had Spiller, and Kyle Parker was really good. And they had a tight end named Palmer. Defense was good. They actually won their division for the first time ever.
Yeah. And then got beat by Georgia. I think Georgia Tech beat them that year.
Stupidly crazy loaded triple option running Paul Johnson with Chan Gailey's players, Georgia Tech team, with Jonathan Dwyer and Josh Nesbitt running the option. And I believe Bebe Thomas was the outside receiver on that team, but I'm not positive. Man, how did you stop that?
Yeah.
I mean, because you don't have Southern Conference players running the option at that point. You have big time players. And it was a great game down in Tampa. Georgia Tech beat them.
Well, didn't Georgia Tech beat them at the beginning of the season that year? Didn't they beat them twice?
Beat them twice. That was the game. You ever seen the picture of the Clemson guy holding his hand?
Yeah.
It's that game because
he's the only guy.
Thursday night, and Tech beat him by 3.
There's one footnote to that that's kind of significant. That championship got stripped from Georgia Tech.
Oh yeah.
If you can believe it, Georgia Tech got busted for recruiting violations and had their ACC crown taken away. The one Paul Johnson high note was taken away from Paul and Georgia Tech, and he continued to just be a surly, unpleasant old man the rest of his time at Georgia Tech until they finally got rid of him.
He recruited that way too, so I don't care if you come here or not. He's just running the option, and they always hung in the balance. Dude, they would play Georgia Southern, and they would win 48-45, and then the next week they played Florida State, and they would lose 47-44. And that was Georgia Tech. They stayed above water, but how long has it taken them to dig out of the Paul Johnson hole? A long time.
They're dug out right now, or at least they were last year. We'll see what they look like.
Yeah, we'll see. I think Brent Key's good.
Yeah. Well, that's it for the morning shows. It's now the afternoon.
Braves fans, you can rest. A trade has been done. Braves land Brent Suter, 36-year-old left-handed reliever with a 4.12 ERA. This is my attempt to try humor, Jamie. They have not made a move that really is going to move the needle much, with all due respect to Lane Thomas. So they got till 6 o'clock, 6 hours. You're on the clock. It'll happen probably during Mad Dog and JC, the move that they need to make to actually compete with anybody in the postseason. Forget about the Dodgers. So we'll see.
Yeah, the Dodgers. That scoop ball was a big deal.
Well, there was no doubt they were going to get them because nobody can compete with the what they pay in luxury tax is more than the payroll of 7 major league teams.
Well, wait a second
idea.
Here. This is you got to be kidding me. The Braves traded for Brent Suter. They got him from the Angels, and they gave up a kid named Nacho Alvarez for him. Why would you do that?
They probably didn't like Nacho.
Wait a minute. Isn't Nacho Alvarez the character from that movie with Amy Adams and Clint Eastwood, Trouble with the Curve? Isn't that what she's like, this is Nacho Alvarez, and you got the guy that was Shaggy Doo. It's kind of the jerk that's in it. And Robert Patrick is in that movie, too. And I think John Goodman's in that movie, too.
I never saw the movie, but I was on the road when my agent called and asked if I wanted to audition because they had an announcer in that game.
Dude, Mike, you would have gotten to meet Clint Eastwood.
I know.
Adams
Trust
and
me.
Robert Patrick.
There are 2 missed opportunities that haunt me. It's that one, and there's another one where I had the gig. I would have been doing football play-by-play with Doug Flutie in a movie about some autistic kid, and I already won the audition, and then COVID hit, and the movie fell apart and never came to fruition.
All right, so it's Matthew Lillard is the hot shot GM, and he's
Lillard.
mad. Lillard, whatever. He's a Lillard to me. No, and I like him in most things.
Lillard.
Yeah, he can play anything from psycho to funny, but he's kind of a jerk in it. And yeah, John Goodman's in it. Scott Eastwood, Clint's son, is in it. Robert Patrick is in it. Justin Timberlake is in it. You would have gotten to meet everybody, Mike.
I know.
This came out in 2012, dude. What were you doing? What were you possibly doing?
I was working. I don't know. They don't pause production for my play-by-play schedule.
Yeah, sorry.
Hold up, production folks. We got this guy who's gonna do 2 minutes of actual screen time.
I wouldn't want to tell Clint Eastwood that I had to go. I got to go, Clint. I've got my real job.
Were you the punk that held up the production? Yeah. Yeah, nice.
I guess we'll just recast.
Swell.
Yeah, the swell.
Swell, punk.
All right. This was a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, glad you got to see me. We'll be back tomorrow for National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day, or National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day.
JT's Kia Drive.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Southern Cal Notre Dame decided they are going to play again in 2030. I just got the notes.
Oh, good.
Good for what's right in the world.
That'll be part of the 32-team college football playoff.
Yeah, I was going to say that's just far enough away from actually that game mattering in a 12-team format. So yeah, good.
That'll make Notre Dame's schedule the second worst of any Power 4 / Notre Dame schedule in the country.
in history. All right. See you tomorrow.
Gamecock Traditions is your Nike superstore and your home for anything and everything with a South Carolina logo. Visit us in the Midlands and order online at GamecockTraditions.com. Go Gamecocks!
The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you.
Contact local agent Gary Patterson for your personal price plan today.
Walk me through the toughest case or situation we've had to handle without names or locations. Just what was the toughest situation? The hardest one was there was an individual that defended themselves in their home, and they're still criminally charged. And there was evidence that they were, being sought after for something that they weren't technically involved in. And they're being charged criminally because they defended themselves inside of their own home for doing what was right and what we believe at Right to Bear to be a human right.
TheBigSpur.com, now part of On3. Join for just $1 today.
When you buy and sell your sports and fitness gear at Play It Again Sports, you support a local business. We pay our customers for their quality used sports and fitness gear and resell it, recycling it back into your community. Support local, score savings.
Palm Casual Patio Furniture presents our coverage of South Carolina football. Visit palmcasual.com today. Make your outdoor space the best it can be. Go Gamecocks.
The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you.
Contact local agent Gary Patterson for your personal price plan today.
A really common fear in a workman's compensation case is what's going to happen to my job if I report this injury? And my answer to that is you still need to report your injury. I'm dealing directly with the insurance company, and the insurance company is going to treat you like a file number. So let me make sure that doesn't happen to you. Let me get involved in your workman's compensation case.
If you own a home, don't wait on these home safety tips. Flush your water heater, clean your dryer vent, and inspect your roof annually. Don't forget to check washer hoses and caulk in wet areas. Visit RestoProsMidlandsSC.com.
A really common fear in a workman's compensation case is what's going to happen to my job if I report this injury? And my answer to that is you still need to report your injury. I'm dealing directly with the insurance company, and the insurance company is going to treat you like a file number. So let me make sure that doesn't happen to you. Let me get involved in your workman's compensation case.
Ryan Brewer Fence offers a variety of services ranging from fences and railings to columns. Our craftsmanship, experience, and service is second to none. Visit ryanbrewer.net today.
Andy, why are you burning all that money?
Because if you're buying a Honda or Toyota, that's exactly what you're doing. Look at the new Kia K4. It's $2,000 less than the Civic, and Honda only has a 5-year warranty. JT's Kia has a 1,000,000-mile warranty.
Don't forget JT's Advantage Package. Oil changes, roadside assistance, and so much more. Why burn money?
I-77 at Killian Road or Greystone Boulevard. We're serious about saving you money.
JT's Kia.
Kia Summer Sticker Sales Event.
Is this your golf game? It doesn't have to be. Visit McKellarEnterprises.org and improve your game today.
Do you carry? Carry responsibly with us. What could you lose from a self-defense act? Visit ProtectWithBear.com to find out more. ProtectWithBear.com.
Clowns are people too. Clowns are people too. Now I own some tiny horns and got me those red shoes. I don't know much, but know one thing that's true. If you don't know anything, just know that clowns are people too.
Now back to the clowns on the Chief Sports Network.
All right, welcome in everybody inside the Gamecocks, the show here, the show portion at least of the live super stream. I am Phil Mad Dog Mullinax. He is JC Sherbert. We are here, man. It is International Clown Week, JC, to celebrate the dedication and hard work that goes into professional clowning, which we actually do represent acknowledge rather some very interesting clown figures around the world of college sports.
College sports.
Yeah, we will continue to do so because college sports will always be fraught with clowns.
College, I don't know. A lot of Braves questions in the McKellar Enterprises chat box.
Yeah, see that.
I don't know is my answer.
I don't either. I don't pay attention.
I like them. I hope they win, but I haven't kept up with the latest trade deadline rumors. So circle back and ask JB about it tomorrow. This is Inside the Gamecocks, the show. I'm JC. This is the Mad Dog Phil Mullinax. It is a Monday. It used to be Meatloaf Monday, but there's not enough time. You know, a good meatloaf probably takes an hour and 15 minutes to prepare.
That's right.
And so we don't have that much time anymore. Harrison chimes in about the Notre Dame Southern Cal nugget I dropped just before the break. The Irish and Trojans are going to play again, which I think's good. Don't be like Texas and Texas A&M and get your bloomers in a wad and I'm going to play you anymore. Never mind. Again, never mind the fans want it, and never mind the people that pay for all this want it. But it'll be a week 1 matchup, Trojans and Irish. Normally in South Bend, it's in October, and then in LA, it's been the end of the year, Thanksgiving weekend. So that's a little different. If something ever changed with Clemson and South Carolina, because a lot of people, I mean, there's a vocal minority of Gamecock fans, and maybe those of you in the chat box, are any of you like wanting to cancel the Clemson series? I don't think this is a very mainstream opinion. I know Clemson certainly doesn't want to cancel it. Why would they?
Right.
You know, they win most of the time. So I don't know. If something ever did happen to it though, barring Clemson joining the SEC, which they could. And then I think it's safe that last weekend. Yeah. I think it's always going to be like the Iron Bowl and Egg Bowl or whatever. But if they don't, if Clemson and scheduling got a little hunky wanky, I think the idea would be it would be played early in the season, like either like week 1, or if you don't want to do that, you know, like Iowa State's always week 2.
Yeah,
you know, week 3, that kind of rivalry game. But I've seen that happen before. Like Pitt and West Virginia used to play end of the year all the time, and now when they do play, it's like week 2, week 3. Something like that. So we will kind of see what happens. Gamecock 346 with a stroll down memory lane going back to 1986. It's the first year that I followed Gamecock sports. Anyone remember how South Carolina got cheated out of a win at NC State when Carolina held NC State on 4th down and State missed a field goal, but the Gamecocks were called for offsides? Yeah, borderline call too. That game's on YouTube. It was the 86, and NC State was good that year. I think they didn't win. I think did they win the ACC? I don't remember, but anyway, they were very good. Carolina played a lot of very good teams this year, or that particular year, and took them to the wire. And they had the breakthrough. It says November 1st. State was number 16 in the country. And Carolina, they had just beaten Clemson at home. Clemson was ranked at the time. And Clemson was good in 86. They finished 8-2-2 and won the Gator Bowl.
Yeah, I love NC State 8-3-1. Dick Sheridan's first year, who won Coach of the Year for ACC, but tied for second in the conference.
Yeah, and so they played Virginia Tech in the Peach Bowl. That was Bill Dooley was the coach at Virginia Tech, and he left, I think, for Wake Forest. And the next year, Frank Beamer took over at Virginia Tech. So anyway, Carolina's up 22-17 because State had just come off this big win over Clemson. A guy named Eric Kramer was a quarterback for State. And it was 22-17 South Carolina. Carolina had come back to take that lead. And 4th down, game was over. And the ACC officiating crew. Now you're like everybody's in a conference. Your conference officials travel with you. In other words, like ACC officials in Columbia last year and the SEC officials up at Clemson. I mean, that's the way they do it with interconference games. It wasn't that way then. the guy threw a flag, so they were offsides. The next thing you know, Eric Kramer threw like a last-second touchdown pass, and State won. That game was not on TV, but it was on the radio, and me and my dad had to pull over in the car because it was that bad. And so yeah, that's what happened. Dick Sheridan, Gamecock alum, played at Carolina, got the win there. The next year, though, in Columbia, Gamecocks beat them 48-0. I think held them under 100 yards of offense. They didn't cross the 50 that day because there was a lot of issues about that one. That NC State game in the 80s and early 90s, that series got really, really chippy. Starting with that game, I think maybe before there was something else, but that game happened. People were outraged. Then you had 87 where the Gamecocks just demolished them. And that's when we kind of all figured out that the 87 team was going to be pretty good, right? Because they just shut them down in Columbia. The next year, Todd Ellis goes up there. It's a game on ESPN. Carolina wins 23-7. Ellis throws a touchdown pass late and does the 6-gun salute to the crowd. 88. That was the last thing that 88 team ever did. 89, Carolina is in the first year of the Sparky Woods era. This shows you sometimes, guys, how like around this program, some of the what ifs, it's like things happen. And I think it's that way with every program if we just think about it. But there's been a lot of, hasn't been a lot of memorable seasons. And so when your winning history is that small, everything is magnified. Anyway, they're 5-1-1. NC State's Carolina's ranked 25th. I think State's 24th. It's our top 25 matchup in Columbia. We were late getting in the stadium. I'm walking up East Upper. I guess my tickets were at East Upper that day. It's back when East Upper was full all the time. And we missed 2001. Up the ramp. Crowd's going crazy. All of a sudden, the crowd goes silent. And I walk out, and Todd Ellis is laying down. And he blew his ACL out, or got hit. NC State guy hit him, hurt him out for the season. NC State won that game, and Carolina ended up going backward that year in 89. So, and then in 90 and 91, the crazy thing about the 91 game, which is back in Columbia, that team was 3-6-2 and about to go in the SEC. And I remember watching that game going, man, NC State and Carolina, since I've been following, it's been at the very least competitive unless Carolina was blowing them out. And I remember looking at the players going, NC State's just better. And that team Carolina had was about to go into the SEC. They got better in a hurry, though, the next year because they started winning SEC games. So that was that was a weird thing. But, yeah, and then they hadn't really played. I mean, Spurrier played State, twice, beat them both times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, openers, right? They're both of them.
One of the best wins Muschamp had here was that opener. That NC State team had like 10 NFL players on draft.
Right.
But the Dave Dorn universe in balance and in harmony theory applies there. Do you know who his offensive coordinator was? Eli Drinkwitz.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that way.
Yeah, they had 504 yards. They outgained Carolina by 300 yards that day in Charlotte. And Carolina had to hold on at the end. But Carolina was comfortable. It never felt like the Gamecocks weren't going to lose that game. Debo Samuel had a 100-yard kickoff return to start the season. I mean, it was looking back, that was a gigantic win.
Right.
Just didn't know it at the time. So anyway, that's good. Good to go there. Harrison wanting to cancel the annual football game with Clemson's misplaced. There's still value in playing that game for South Carolina. Heck, winning it was the way reason Carolina had an argument for the college football playoff in 2024. I'm not for canceling it. And all right, so sometimes I think at South Carolina, especially, and that's our state, and that's us and who we are. We're not afraid. People in South Carolina are not afraid to go their own way. It's right. Like, look at the history of the state.
That's right.
Both good and bad. Okay, not just the Civil War, but everything. I mean, my wife notices it too. She's like, y'all don't like being told what to do. Like, that's just something about us, right? Look at Carolina's decision to leave the ACC. I will just leave.
Bye.
No. You don't tell us. And so at South Carolina, we're not, obviously not afraid to just, even at our own peril, just make our own decision. We don't look at this. This is one where I think you sort of follow everybody else. And because when you're talking about things like scheduling and fairness, and I mean, within the scope of your own conference, it's like, okay, what, we don't really want to cancel the Clemson series, but if Kentucky and Louisville quit playing, and Georgia Tech quit playing, and Florida and Florida State quit playing, and that's the big one, is Florida and Florida State. Georgia Tech is a tier below. And then, quite frankly, even with, going to 9 SEC games, which I think is hilarious as it relates to Kentucky's scheduling philosophy, they probably complain louder than anybody.
Mm-hmm.
What, we can't play 2 MACs and an FCS anymore? What? What are you? What? But until they start canceling it, and they, I think Carolina needs to keep it, and Clemson needs to keep it. Contrary to popular belief, because this is something that I think was written about in the newspaper, there is not a state law that mandates they play. They would have had to have played during COVID if that was the case, or they would have had to have rewritten the law. There's a resolution that encourages it to happen. Right. In other words, hey, we'd prefer for you to play.
We would prefer it.
So I just don't think that's it. Chaco says, are we concerned about our kicking game this year? Excited for the season. I guess I'm just going to go ahead and have to talk about it. Right. We're a month away from the start of the season. Well, a month and 2 days.
We would prefer to not have to worry about that, Chaco, for about another 20 days.
All right, so I was thinking about this today, and I wrote
can't.
a little bit
It
about
keeps creeping up into my head, man. It does.
So that's yeah, that's that's. Well, wasn't talking about Tri-State. You threw me off there.
Same thing.
Customer service, man. I can't do that right now.
We can clear that.
Send Phil and I an email, and we'll answer that.
Yes, it does look like what you're assuming. I do not think it's fraud. There we go. We'll get that out of the way.
Oh no, it's not. It's not fraud. I didn't read the fraud part.
Yeah.
Yes, you renew it. That it was listed on there. It's like it you did the buck, and then it renews, because we're at the 90-day mark now. So we're at the 3-month mark, and we came over May 1st. So those are going to start to renew. I got a couple texts about it today, but yeah, so that's it. That's the normal thing. And I believe you are now eligible for, if you read The Athletic, you get a free membership to The Athletic with that. So there we go. Back to the kicking game. So I wrote today when we were talking about the forgotten men. I don't think Upton Bellenfant, there's no reason why Upton Bellenfant should not win the job. I just started thinking, I said, this is stupid. Why isn't he winning the job? The answer is he's inconsistent during spring. But look, dude, and here's why. Number one, he was their kicker they got out of the portal. I know he's the backup at Texas Tech last year. He's still 6 for 7. But this is what gets it for me. He was Pete Limbo's kicker at Buffalo 2 years ago. Right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
All right. So you're not going to kick for Pete Limbo unless you're good. He was 18 for 21 and 3rd team All-MAC. And it didn't kick a ton of long 50-plus yarders, but had a game winner against Northern Illinois. That's the same Northern Illinois that beat Notre Dame. Pistol Pete and Pete Limbo and Buffalo beat them.
That's right.
Bellenfant had the winning kick. I just don't, I don't know why he didn't run away with it, but he didn't. I mean, that's not just them going, we need more competition. Max Kelly certainly is in that mix. Max is a scholarship kicker. Max kicked off last year. Max was 4th at the wing eating contest. The first kicker we've ever had.
That's not a bad showing for a kicker, right?
Yeah. So I understand that. And then they got Malik Orson, who's kind of a bigger kicker as well. But dude, it's like, it's like Belenfant to me. I'm like, why? The question is why? Because he's got a track record. Now, look, kickers are funny things. Some years they're good, some years they're not.
Yeah.
It doesn't always, it's not like the other positions. It's like putting or free throw shooting. You get out of funk. But I don't know. The day the kickers looked really awful in the scrimmage in the spring was a day the wind, I found this out after the fact, was a day the wind was just. So maybe that's good practice, but we'll see what happens. But am I concerned about the kicking situation? Yes.
Yeah.
Just always, but I always am. I was concerned before 2022 about the kicking situation.
Okay. All right.
And Carolina had the best special teams in America.
Turned out great. Yeah.
Because you're always you break it down to death, and then you find out. There's always a handful of guys that get hurt at practice that are out. Who are they? So who are you going to battle with? All that good stuff. And then you get there and it's like, well, I hadn't really thought about the kickers yet. I'm going to freak out and panic. I'll say the other parts of special teams. By the way, Emmett Rhodes, who they got from Phil's alma mater, Western Carolina, who's also from Chicago, played at St. Ignatius. He should, they didn't have a guy win the long snapping competition either, but that guy should do it. He's experienced and solid. So anyway,
I take a little hope, JC, in the fact that I feel like the offense is going to be more effective, and when you are going to have to rely on a field goal, it's not going to be from 50 plus more often than not, right? Like from 45 out more often than not. It'll be a little closer, just because I feel like this offense is going to be able to move the ball a bit more effectively, let's say, than teams over the past couple of years have. When it would have been good to have a lights out kicker, just because you couldn't function. Well, last year was a complete,
last year I thought William Joyce was fine.
I thought he was too. It's just you kept asking him to do it from like 47 plus. And
he wasn't going to kill it, but they just never got opportunities, and then sometimes they didn't try. So I don't know. All right, let's get on to our first break.
Yeah, we'll go ahead.
It's Monday. This is Inside the Gamecocks. Gamecock Traditions is closed today, the brick and mortar stores, but you go to GamecockTraditions.com. Order all the Nike gear your hearts can take. I'll tell you about 5 Point Social. It's opening. It used to be the Cotton Gin, the Knock Knock Club, the 5 Point Sign. So friends of ours are opening that. So be sure to check that out. Follow them on social media. We're going to be big fans of that place.
Nice.
Big fans, Phil.
Yeah.
Big fans. Big fans.
Big.
Enormous fans.
Huge.
Of 5 Point Social. That's the number 5 Point Social. Please go follow them. Also, don't forget about D's Wings. D's Wings. I always get hungry. Like lunch to me doesn't start until I mention D's Wings.
Until
on Wednesdays, get a pitcher of beer and 18 wings for $29 out in beautiful West Columbia. I don't say the ample parking thing anymore because people set me straight about it. I've just been going at off times. But compared to getting to like Cafe, whatever it is, at Strudel in West Columbia, where I can never find parking because you got to park where you park to go to D's to get there. That's why I always kind of say, D's is right there. But maybe I'm just wrong. Anywho, we'll be right back to have the second half of Inside the Gamecocks show after this.
Dry Space Crawl Space Solutions are your local home protection experts. Crawl space encapsulation, sump pump and drain installs, humidity control, duct cleaning, basement waterproofing, concrete leveling, and French drains. We do it all. Visit DrySpaceCS.com. DrySpaceCS.com. Go Gamecocks.
Is this your golf game? It doesn't have to be. Visit McKellarEnterprises.org and improve your game today.
Test ride at Electric Bikes of Charleston today. Road trip ready. Ride comfortably. Forget road fatigue. The Velotric Fold 1 Plus features our exclusive Comfort Max frame design for an effortless, upright riding posture and a low step through. With an adjustable seat and stem, you'll be feeling great and ready for the next campsite adventure. Your back will thank you. Visit Electric Bikes of Charleston. ElectricBikesCharleston.com.
Troy Branham of Golden Gate Mortgage can help you save big today anywhere in South Carolina. Over 27 years experience. Visit ggmortgage.com. Troy Branham of Golden Gate Mortgage says go Gamecocks.
New year, better floors. Now is the time. Refinish your hardwood floors with Recoat Revolution. Beautiful like new floors in just one day. No dust, affordable, and 5 stars. Give us a call in South Carolina, 803-397-1365. Or visit us at recoatrevolution.com. Go Gamecocks!
Jeffrey's got space and a touchdown. Can you believe it? Touchdown! He caught it on traffic. Scores! Touchdown, South Carolina!
Welcome back to Inside the Gamecocks, the show, everybody. I'm having a hard time finding the buttons to click, but that's all right. Final segment of the show here for the week to kick off the week.
Coffee was off. I was off on coffee this morning too, man.
I don't know what it was. I just couldn't get it together this morning. I woke up late this morning. That is part of it. This is like the last weekend. We just came out of the final weekend, essentially, of our summer because my wife goes back to work tomorrow. So there's half of, us, and then the kids go back next week. It's just this is a tough stretch of 2 weeks here, but at least there'll be some, practice reports and, well, not many, but, we'll start to hear some insider information creep out of what's going on a football field beginning Friday. Shane Beamer kicks everything off on Thursday with a local press conference, and then we are into the football flow, if you will, for preseason camp.
Need a football flow. Absolutely. And keep up with it. Gamecock Central, the Big Spur. We talked to Tri-State about it. Tri-State, I think you answered your question.
Yeah.
I just always I'm like, oh my gosh, customers. There's a reason we partner with a network. They handle stuff like that, right?
That's right.
So Harrison's going to D's for dinner tonight, by the way. Lucky dog.
Yeah, man.
Lucky. There's no D's equivalent here. The closest thing to D's wings I can find here, and you would think in a place like Chicago, there's all kinds of wings.
No,
they don't do my kind of wings here. They like the big, fatty. They have some with that are actual wings, like you get in a bucket of chicken.
Right.
Wife loves it.
I'm not down. That's interesting. I don't like the ones that are so big that the drumettes look like they could also double as drumsticks.
Yeah, dude. No, I like a smaller with meat, no fat stuff, and
because I like to ensure mine are thoroughly cooked. JC, that's my thing. I love wings, but I almost always ask for well done.
Yeah, because I can't
just
stand
to
it
make
otherwise.
sure.
Yeah, dude. Because if you get a bad rubbery batch, it's the worst. There's I'm not tender. You and I and Mike Morgan are the same on that. Mike Morgan and I have identical wing tastes.
Right.
So it's always good. That's the thing there. All right. So question about Mitch Jeter. Harrison says, this is the McKellar Enterprises Chat Box. I'm not disrespecting Herrera in 2024, but after all the Juice Wells drama during the 24 season, it's safe to say Mitch Jeter was the most impactful portal departure that offseason. Yeah.
A lot to be said for that.
And it was weird because he didn't leave for money. Carolina was more than willing to keep him. He just wanted a new deal. You also have to kind of wonder the Gator Bowl that year, if Marcus Freeman went watching him warm up, hey, this guy's pretty good.
Right.
Because he was almost automatic in his career at Carolina. A lot of folks too, though, man, heading into 24, like Juice Wells made the comment, was allegedly said, you don't have a quarterback because Rattler was going. A lot of people didn't think Carolina was going to be that good in 24. And I think that was part of it for Mitch. But, I mean, you know what? He's a Notre Dame guy now. I mean, that's the way it is for everybody that leaves through the portal. It's going to be interesting to see if these guys identify more with the place they spent a long time at, develop them versus the 1-year deal. Most of them so far have gone with the 1-year deal. So that's fine too. But, and so, yeah, Harrison, I think that's true. But I also think that, Mitch's injury at Notre Dame caused him to be a lot less effective. A lot. And then he got one blocked in the national championship game, if I'm not mistaken. But he got to kick in the national championship game, man.
That's true.
You can't blame the kid. You can't. I'm not saying be happy for anybody that abandons your team, especially when it wasn't a money thing. This says you're not good enough for me. I'm going with this place.
Well, he was also a grad transfer too, which I do kind of like.
I
weigh that a
too.
bit more. Yeah, I'm like, okay, well, at least you stuck it out and got your undergrad here, and now you're moving on, right?
Yeah, Lauren, he had an injury for that. So, yeah, we all miss Pete Limbo. Not because, look, I say this I've said this for years since Pete Limbo left. You were never going to – Pete Limbo didn't replicate the 2022 special team season in 2023. So you're just not going to replicate it. No. Every trick play worked. How many times does that happen? I don't know. Maybe there was one that did not, but every trick play. He was on the heater of all heaters.
Even beyond that, like when you think about how well Kroger punted that season, too.
Yes,
like you can't. That was automatic. Just odd. It really everything like the stars aligned for Pistol Pete to go get him a new job.
22 was a great. He was. See, Pete Limbo's not afraid to take a lower level job. Some of these guys shouldn't. So
no, I do miss Pete, man. He's great, good personality. Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Still loves Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Blake's going to North Myrtle on Tuesday night. Can't wait. It's been 3 years. I missed the Palmetto State. Yeah, North Myrtle.
Man.
Nice. Bruin demands 2 hours worth of Inside the Gamecocks show. Sorry.
No.
Krager likes his wings double fried.
Yeah, that's right. Extra crispy.
Mm-hmm. So, and yes, Bruin. TD had a question earlier. TD, we're not bringing back the 2 hour show. It's just too much. With everything, but it's 3, and then you really get the middle hour. It's really all of us.
Yeah,
a lot of people requested that. But we'll still have Inside the Gamecocks, the preview show on Fridays. We'll still have the tailgate show. Me and Phil. We still have coffee. But no, it's catch me on the website though, 24 hours a day. So it's just one of those things. It gets really hard because when I do this, it like drains my head.
Yeah.
Talking like this for 2 hours, and I got to go focus on a computer and all that. So we just made the decision. Now, if anybody out there has got a business and you want to fund the fourth hour?
Hey,
well,
right.
I'm all ears. We'll expand tomorrow. We'll cut a deal, and it'll be the show, the Ronald McDonald Playland hour or whatever, since it's clown month.
There is a direct correlation between compensation and the length of the show.
So,
hint, hint.
We'll definitely do that. So TD's been on. This is what he said. TD Knoll, McKellar Enterprises Chat Box. Preseason camp is among us. I've seen some people who are on TikTok. And they all seem to think if Beamer doesn't win 8, he's gone. I tend to agree with that statement, barring injuries. To me, this could be an 11 or 10 win team if all goes right. Yeah, if all goes right, absolutely. Would Shane be fired with a 7-5 record?
It's like we always say.
I don't think so.
It depends on how it came about, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you go out there and hang 7-5 on the board, and the 5 teams, all right. So let's go through it, Phil. Ready?
All right.
Mm-hmm. Let's say my thoughts about Alabama are misguided, and you go down there and lose, and they're a playoff team. Okay. Let's say hypothetically, Florida or Tennessee are both really good, like playoff teams.
Right.
So there's Florida. Let's say Oklahoma is as good as we think they're going to be. It's on the road. You lose to Oklahoma. And then, so A&M and Georgia would be your other 2. Those are at home. You hate to lose them, but if Carolina's just not quite as good and these teams are cycled up and are really good contenders, there's 5.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you go up to Clemson and win, allegedly, to get the 7. You beat Tennessee again. It's 7-5. Now, look, would that be maximizing this team, in my opinion, if, as you say, everybody's healthy? I can't say that it is. I can't say that 7-5 is. Now, I reserve the right to change that if, let's say, they just have some games like the LSU game or the Bama game a couple of years ago where it just doesn't bounce their way. They get some unfortunate calls or something. And there's a lot of games like that. Like in 06 is a fascinating year to look at when you're talking about not all records are created equal.
Yeah.
Shall we go back to 06, Philip? I think we shall.
Let us count the ways.
And that 06 team had all kinds of problems. That roster was nothing compared to this one. I mean, all kinds of problems, dude. All kinds of problems.
Yeah. I think it will hurt real bad if you don't get to 8, just because as we sit here right now, we know that now's the time, right? Like now is the time to strike. Yeah.
You got a third-year starter at quarterback for starters, and it goes from there. Okay, so in 06, they opened on a Thursday night at Mississippi State. Mississippi State had one of the worst quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah.
And I got to be careful because I think Shane Beamer and Ellis Johnson were on that staff.
That's true. Yeah, because that was that Sly's last team or
no,
first?
His last team actually was good, or his second to last team was actually good. I'll tell you about that, but he inherited a mess, and there was no transfer portal then. Jackie Sherrill had taken all these JUCOs at the end, and they had bust, and his roster wasn't good, so they struggled. But this guy, dude, I'd be shocked if there's ever a quarterback this bad. Now, their defense was salty, but Mike Hennig was this guy's name. Not a very big guy. In his career, he threw 10 touchdowns and 24 interceptions.
That's upside down if you want it to be good.
It was he's really little, dude. And I was like, like Jasper Brinkley, the Brinkley brothers were on that defense making their debut. And we were at the game, and I drove to Starkville to watch that game. And dude, I thought Jasper was going to kill the guy a couple of times. I mean, it was that bad. I mean, it just, man, that was tough, dude. That was a tough, a very, very difficult situation for them. And so Carolina starts off that season, and I'll look up the good Sylvester Croomy here in a second, Phil. They started the season with that. Then Spurrier gets shut out. It's his second year. Georgia had to put Matt Stafford in because their starter got hurt. And Georgia won in Columbia 18-0. 18-0. 18-0. And so things are not looking pleasant, right? But if you look at the aggregate of what that team did in 2006 at Carolina, not bad. So Wofford comes in, almost beats the Gamecocks. That's not good.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the next week, Savell Newton gets the start at quarterback. I think Spurrier benched Savell Newton benched Blake Mitchell before Wofford, or maybe Blake got in trouble or something. So Savell comes in, and Howard Schnellenberger brought Florida Atlantic up. Gamecocks win 45-6. I think Savell threw for 5 touchdowns that night. The next weekend, number 2 Auburn comes to town, and the Gamecocks lose by a touchdown on Thursday night at home. And that's the game Spurrier said, don't clap for us when we lose. Also said we're a pass rusher away. Cliff Matthews was visiting. Cliff Matthews committed shortly thereafter. They go to Kentucky and win on the very famous Philly. That's when Spurrier was the first to run like the Philly special. And they did it and salted it away. That's the game Ron Cooper got called out in the press conference afterward. 2 weeks later, they go to Vanderbilt and win pretty convincingly 31-13. Well, then they had already played Georgia when Georgia was 12th. Georgia didn't finish 12th, but they were 12th. So they played Auburn when they were second. So another top 10 team, Tennessee, comes in. I think Eric Ainge was the QB for them in 2006. And it was back and forth. Tennessee won 31-24. Arkansas the following week, number 12 in the country, gets up 26-6. First half, I think McFadden was on that team too. And Spurrier puts Blake Mitchell back in, and Blake almost leads Carolina back to win. They lose by 6. So after the Georgia game, you're looking at a 7-point loss to number 2, a 7-point loss to number 8, and a 6-point loss to number 12. And then the Florida cock block game happened, 17-16 against the eventual national champs. Urban Meyer yesterday tweets out a video of that game, and I think it was in response to what's one of the best games you ever played in, coached in, or ever saw. And he tweets the highlights of that game out. And if you listen to that Gator documentary on Netflix, the one that's kind of candied over a little bit,
right,
he talks about that game. That game got in his head a little bit.
Yeah, it did. It kind of lived rent free in there for a while.
Yeah, because he had lost that game the week before. Or the game the year before. So that team, and then they went on to beat Middle Tennessee, and then, beat Clemson, snap the streak against Clemson, and bit 7-5. So my point is, if you looked at this kind of result, with the exception of, hey, you shouldn't have gotten shut out by the number 12 team in the country at the time, and should have had your quarterback situation settled, which you don't want to tell that to Steve Spurrier. Maybe you tell that to Shane Beamer. Yeah, this kind of situation with this kind of schedule, maybe, okay, you just played some good teams. It's unfortunate. It's going to happen in this era of 9-game schedules. They just put on a random rotation, and I mean, come on. But that's kind of the way it is. I mean, do I think this team on paper can be better than that? Absolutely. Should they be? Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. I mean, some of these positions could be varying levels of good, right? You know what I'm saying? Like we all think the receivers are going to be really good, but there's some guys in that room that drop the ball quite a bit, not just here, but there are other schools too. So you have a bunch of drops, and there's 14 guys in there that can play. You probably can find them. I don't know, but sometimes that takes time as a coach. Maybe the offensive line is a liability. Maybe Lenore Sellers, all the criticism of him and stuff, maybe that just ends up being who he is, which would be sad and frustrating because we've seen another Lenore Sellers. Maybe the running backs aren't that. Maybe they have some injuries in the secondary and they can't cover a bucket of water and teams are throwing all over. But I guess the subject was without injuries. So yeah, this team should be better. Thank you, TD, with that. So Moving forward. Panthers have lost some players to injury, so yeah. So that kind of thing. So Blake staying in Little River. That's good. Blake says, I love watching coaching clinics. Pete Limbo has one on YouTube that's an amazing watch. I'm serious. Craig says, JC, we talk about how glorious Darius Gray looks. Yeah, Craig and I were texting back and forth this weekend. So the players this time of year do like photo shoots like recruits do.
Right.
And at the end of summer, and they put them on their Instagram. So you can kind of tell Julian Walker looks fantastic. You can tell some guys that have been putting in work. Darius Gray, I don't think he doesn't look like the rest of the old offensive line. I mean, like you compare him to Trevon Ball or name your tree or whoever.
Right.
Dude, that guy, there's not a lot of body fat there, and he's up to 305 pounds. He looked good. Neff GY looks very good too. He's not going to play, but he looks like you draw him up. I thought Zion Giles looked good in the picture. I thought Kojo Poku, I was like, that's a dude, long arm and stuff like that. So that's the thing there. Gus Flame says you spend the rest of the day in silence with no outside stimulation after dealing with these degenerates. Yeah, I know.
Hey, sometimes that's what it takes, man.
Yeah.
Got to get out of your head.
Cam said, I thought the same thing when I saw Darius Grady's uniform. Don't remember I ever seeing the South Carolina offensive line look like that chiseled. No. Craig said,
dude, he looks like a tight end, dude. No,
dude, I'm telling you, man, that's impressive. So Drew asked if Mr. Bones is coming back for the pregame. Oh, dude, we've been doing it 2 years.
Oh, we can't not do it. Or do you want to switch?
Well, one of the best moments last year, maybe the best moment of the season, quite frankly, Phil. We're sitting in the Embassy Suites at Buckhead.
That's right. To open the season. Yeah.
And I didn't do it from my hotel room, but I was going public, right?
Yeah.
So I went out to the atrium and sat at the bar and set up. One of the best moments was Phil fires up Mr. Bones before the tailgate show because that means it's game day, right?
That's right. It's time. Yeah, I love it. I don't want to change that. No.
So yeah, Paul McJunkin says 8-4 at worst. Healthy, this team's at least 10 wins in the playoff. Yeah, you hope. There's just a lot of guys that are, we look at, we go, Fred Johnson's pictures are out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know of a linebacker that looks like that. I evaluated talent for a living for years.
Yeah.
Right. And you see a guy like that, you're really thinking he's going to go to Alabama and play for Nick Saban if he's a linebacker. It's kind of funny that you got Justin Uncle, Sean Murphy, and Fred. And Fred's the one that Nick Saban didn't sign. Unbelievable. Right. But see, we're sitting there talking about pictures and how they go. Physically, it's not a beauty contest. It's not Mr. Olympia field.
No, not
Mr. Universe. Oh. Blake says, I feel like Beamer knows he's 9 wins or bust after his repeated and extensive comments after last year about being in the playoff hunt. I don't know about 9 or bust. We'll see. Lauren will be disappointed with anything less than 8 or 9 wins. And look, a lot of people may be saying Carolina's unrealistic. Fans say this. I don't think it is, because I think what you're looking at is you got to make up for last year.
Right.
Okay. It's not this is not a rebuild. You retained everybody. You brought in a bunch of older portal guys, right, Phil?
Mm-hmm.
That's not a rebuild. That's not we're just inching our way back towards maybe being in the playoff hunt like in 24,
Mm-hmm.
This is a bounce back. This is not, this is not because after this year, just naturally there's going to be significant personnel losses that you're going to have to replace either with current players or through recruiting. And so,
yes, multiple year starters in that crowd too, on both sides of the ball. It's like
I mentioned Fred Johnson. He's draft eligible.
Yeah.
But chances are, if you're going to lose that many to the draft, they're probably pretty good.
you're doing okay. Unless, you're like Clemson last season. Maybe that's just a one-off and not necessarily the way things are trending in this current.
X-Man says, at this point, we have more questions than answers, and they won't be answered all till week 3 or 4. The second part, I think X is absolutely true.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just not going to I think having those 2 games at the beginning is kind of like a makeup for not having a spring game. You kind of get to see it good. And I'm not disrespecting either opponent. I'm not. Those guys try. It's a football game. You better show up or you get embarrassed. That's just how it goes. But it's that's true as far as what do you see. As far as the questions go, Carolina actually, if you're talking about questions as far as how they match up against the SEC, well, those questions are never really answered until you play. And then some weeks it's different than others. As far as like who's going to play where and who you feel comfortable about manning it, because I think Carolina's got less questions than some places,
Yeah,
Now,
lends itself to the expectation, right?
But those are preseason roster questions or personnel questions. Outcome questions or performance questions, they'll be answered, like you said, X. Yeah, the Redskins didn't sign Debo. He's back in San Francisco.
That's all right. They didn't know how to use him right anyway.
Somebody asked if I had the beef in Chicago. That's a restaurant. I have not, but I've had a beef sandwich or a few in my life. Beef sandwich. Yeah. Beef. Blake said Kent State and Towson is the equivalent of hitting the driving range before you go on the course. Yeah. Krager says, does Darius Gray project as a guard? He can play any of the 5 positions, including left tackle. TD says, for the love of God, in all capital letters, don't let the opener be 10-3 at halftime. This fan base will be insufferable. I'm not even going to pop out with an 87. And Carolina only led App State 10-3 and won 24-3 in the opener. I'm not even popping out with that.
No,
I may have something on the big spur at some point. Beamer, though, if you look back, more so than really any other coach that's coached here, he's good at hanging half 100 on the little guys. I mean, if you look through the years, like how many times against the Group of 5 or FCS teams that this program has scored more than 50, it used to not happen a lot, Even Steve Spurrier didn't. I mean, we thought in 2006 that scoring 52 against Middle Tennessee State was something else.
Yeah, I mean, and for reasons that we just had drop in our inbox because Lenora Sellers has been named to the Maxwell Award preseason watch list. So,
I just saw that come through.
Expectations are high.
X says, I think the roster's answer, but how good are they? I think individually, a lot of them are really good. But team and execution in games, that's a different story.
Yeah.
But I mean, some of the how good are they? It's just kind of just physically, they're good. Blake says he's also good at struggling the first 2 weeks. My heart rhythm still hadn't covered from Old Dominion. Yeah, here's something's gonna make you feel better about that fiasco. Well, it was a fiasco. And I may have mentioned this last year. All right, Indiana, most dominant team in college football last year. You can hit the music, Phil, by the way. We got to go.
I'm not even paying attention to the time. I'm just enjoying our conversation.
It's 101.
Yeah, look at that.
Indiana, we saw them score 94 points against Alabama and Oregon last year. We all watched that, right? They only gave up 25. We saw them beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. One of the best teams in the country, right? Most dominant there toward the end. I mean, beat Miami, was on a heater.
Yeah.
Indiana, very good. Final score, first game of last season, Indiana 27, Old Dominion 14. Maybe ODU's in openers just gets up.
Yeah, it's just like, they
well, that guy came from the kid coach there, Ricky Rodney. He came from Vanderbilt. He was on James Franklin's. I remember Carolina in 12 went up to Vandy for the opener. Almost got beat.
Yeah.
It was a really good 2020. Maybe they're just good at openers. I don't know. So we'll see. So maybe that makes you feel better. It was Old Dominion. And Old Dominion put the final nail in Brent Pry's coffin at Virginia Tech last year. They blew Virginia Tech out.
Right.
But then they'll go in the whatever conference are they in? The American? No, they're the Sun Belt, right? ODU.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, they're the Sun Belt. They'll go to a Sun Belt game and just get, Louisiana Monroe beat them by 15. Weirdest thing. Harrison said Old Dominion threw a 75-yard touchdown pass first play from scrimmage last year. Yeah. So Cam's eyes will be glued on the offensive line week 1, along with Sellers getting the ball out quickly. Need those two things to be consistent this year. Absolutely. TD says he'll be week 3 A&M in Georgia. So Mississippi State, A&M, and Georgia. Hope it's a great season. I don't know if I'm going to A&M or Georgia or both. I'm coming in for Tennessee, and I'm coming in for Mississippi State. Those are on the schedule. And I'm going to go to Alabama this year. I shouldn't have said that because now everybody, when I talk, I don't know about Alabama, everybody's going, well, because you're going. You're just hopeful, wishful thinking. You're living in a fantasy land, Sherbert. Fantasy land, Sherbert. If I'm in Fantasyland, Phil, get me on Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
That's right. Throw me on Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
I mean, me and the wife were at IKEA yesterday, and I'll just say this to close. It's weird. And IKEA is like the furniture version of Costco for me. But I get my steps in when I go. So we're moving, so I got to go get some desk. And we went Thursday. That was fun. Going on a Thursday after you've been at a concert all night to IKEA.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I bet.
That's just loads of fun. So anyway, we started talking about Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. For those of you that don't remember, it's an old ride at Disney World, and now it's the Winnie the Pooh ride. It's
Winnie the Pooh, right? Yep.
Because we were talking about like Costco being hell, and I was like, well, in Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, he goes to hell. Apparently. So that's probably why they made it. It's still at Disneyland. So we started talking about Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Then we got on the subject of Winnie the Pooh. And I was like, oh, bother. And I was everybody. And then, oh, gee, too. Look. And then the Eeyore, I like the Eeyore. It's like, I can't believe I'm walking around Costco right now. And so then I started, we started. And so then I was like, I'm not really Winnie the Pooh guy. I'm not. I'm not one of these people that has little Pooh sayings and cartoons. Some people are into it, like, oh, Pooh, 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 Pooh. Even, men, some of them are into Winnie the Pooh. I'm just not. Just wasn't my favorite thing as a kid. I preferred other Disney offerings.
That's right.
And I was like, except for when I was an adult, the Winnie the Pooh Christopher Robin movie with Ewan McGregor, who was Obi-Wan Kenobi. I said the one with Obi-Wan Kenobi. And then I was like, why don't they do a Winnie the Pooh Star Wars? Oh, may the Force be with you.
Oh, that would be funny.
I don't think I can use the Force at all, Pooh. Gee, use the Force. Anakin. Let's bounce. You have failed me for the last time, Admiral.
Yes.
Oh, bother. These are not the droids you're looking for. I wish. These are not the droids you're looking for, Pooh. Oh, they are the droids we're looking for. See, they reveal. Oh, Chewbacca. Wow. And I went on for about 15 minutes. My wife wanted to kill me. All right, so moral of today's show: stay out of IKEA when you have a hangover. That's lesson 1. Lesson 2: it'd be really cool to have a Winnie the Pooh version of Star Wars, and Mr. Toad went to hell in Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, which is Mr. Toad. They changed it. Number 3, we'll be back tomorrow with Inside the Gamecocks, the morning show, and the show, coffee, and all that fun jazz. Because tomorrow's Terrible Tuesday. We're just getting warmed up, folks. Practice starting this week, taking all your football questions. This has been ITG for the Mad Dog Phil Mullinax. This is JC Sherbert. Have a wonderful day.